welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I'm Brad, joined as always by Matt and Shad. I got it right this week because I introduced Matt last week and he wasn't here because I did it on a.
I was I was deep in the heart of Texas, in San Antonio, Texas, and it was nice because my wife and I, where we live just outside of Washington D.C., and we don't have any family here, so it's nice to go back where like her parents live and actually have help with two small children. Like my wife and I basically slept in until like 10 o'clock every day, which is like never. Like that's like 5 hours or more when we 4 to 5 hours before we usually wake up. So yeah, like it was nice to have grandma and grandpa there. Although our children turned feral while they were
Hang
there.
on. Lord, I see what you have done for other people. I wish you would do this for me.
Too much sugar? Is that why they went feral?
They as my oldest, who's 6, said, like I'm like, it's like, oh, you're excited to go see grandma and grandpa. It's like, yeah, I love it. Like, cause at their house there's no rules. And it's like, I hate it. I'm gonna pause you on that. There are in fact rules. And in fact, I'm your parent and I will be there if there needs to be rules. There was no rules. Like it was like the kids went to bed at like 11 o'clock every day. It's like watching TV. My oldest daughter, it'd be like 10 o'clock at night. She'd be like, Grandma, I'm hungry. And like grandma's like whipping up food. And meanwhile, like here at this house, when she asks like an hour after the dinner hour is concluded, like I'm hungry. I'm like, the kitchen's closed. That kitchen right there, it's closed. Like I'm not a short order cook. I don't just whip something out of like here's some goldfish. Knock yourself out if you're still hungry.
That's
Anyway,
the best part about being
deep in the heart
an
of
uncle.
Texas.
That's the best part about being an uncle is it's just like, oh yeah, nieces, come on over and I'll load you full of sugar and then ta-ta back to your parents to keep them up all night.
Someone else's responsibility.
Yeah, it's no longer my problem. Have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we have quite the show.
Can I just say for a second, Brad? I did that very sparingly with my nibblings because if I had gone wild on it, it would have come back on me tremendously. Like I knew
they weren't my.
I did it a little bit.
They were. I was married, and so I didn't bear the brunt of the responsibility for it. But so we have a big show for you tonight. We have a match, which we're gonna do first because once we hit the main topics, I think we're gonna go way down the rabbit hole because we have a fake stabbing and Wrestlemania talk to get to, and hamburgers. So, so our match this week is it is Super Dragon versus Kevin Steen from like December of 2005, and I believe this is the first PWG match we've done on the show. Surprising, but yeah, I think it's the first PWG match we've done.
I feel like that doesn't feel right, but it might be.
Yeah, they're a weird thing because their stuff's really hard to acquire.
Did they just keep it locked down, or did they not distribute it much? Or
they didn't do streaming a lot. They kind of kept their stuff to DVD to the very end. They started getting on streaming towards the end, but I don't remember what service it was on. And I think it was always behind, but they stuck to DVD for a long time.
And when was their last show? 2024, maybe?
2024, 2023, 2024.
Even then, they used to do like a show every month.
Yeah, they kind of lost their. Well, they got hurt a lot by AEW because like they had lost like their main talent to WWE, but then as they had started building up that next wave of talent, then AEW came and like signed them out. Like Sammy Guevara was going to be their next like big act and stuff, and I think leaving the venue in Reseda really hurt their aura. I understand why they did, but they didn't.
Yeah, that I think did like hurt them a lot. I remember like in 2022, 23 that yeah, like AEW did take a lot of their talent, but I remember like AEW contracted people like started doing some of those shows. So you get like Sammy Guevara, Jericho even showed up on the show once when they were doing like the Jericho Appreciation Society stuff. So if I had to guess, if they were still running shows, it would not surprise me if someone like Tony Khan would have allowed AEW like talent to appear on the shows. It wouldn't have been like an issue.
They were
But
they were big they would get like celebrities, like a lot of celebrities. Like I think Jillian Jacobs from Community was a PWG like mega fan.
Oh, that's right.
Like not a wrestling fan, like she was a PWG like diehard.
And I think there was someone else, but oh gosh, now I can't remember who.
well,
I've forgotten all about that.
Joe Mantiagli, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, who was on True Blood, and also they had cast him
Manglione?
as however you pronounce it. But he's started some stuff. He was supposed to be Deathstroke when it was the Zack Snyder Justice League stuff. But he was on True Blood. He's like an actor. He was married to Sofia Vergara.
Oh,
on Modern Family, and there's the infamous like picture where he took her to a show, and like they're like laying. I don't know if it was the Bucks, but people were laying down in the ring selling, and she was like right by ringside and taking a picture, and she like posted to social media and goes, "I think they're dead." It's like her smiling, like taking a photo, and someone is literally like inches away from her, just like down, like selling, like they are dead.
And my favorite was on the DVDs if Meltzer was there. You'd always get a shot of Meltzer, and he'd have his he'd be sitting there like writing.
Joe Manganiello. Yes, and
I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's an interesting guy because he's the guy that, if you know this, which you probably do, he regularly he's probably like a little bit like Henry Cavill, where he's like secretly like a nerd.
Yeah.
He's like a good-looking guy in great shape, but a nerd, because he's noted to regularly do like D&D nights. Like once a month, he has like a D&D night with other celebrities.
Yes,
and they run like a
Big Show campaign. Is one of them, and he's got a basement.
Yeah, it's
basement. Yeah. It's kind of like a nerd cave where it's got it looks like an old tavern with the way the walls are done and the arc and hanging chandelier, wrought iron chandelier stuff. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so PWG was like this weird kind of like in place to be when it was in Reseda, and it kind of lost that aura when it moved. Because like I know Shad's less familiar with it, but like that venue is like such that if you just put a random match on for that venue, you're like, oh, it's PWG. Like you don't even need anything. You're just like, just by the look of the building, you're just like, oh yeah, that's. And I think they owned that building too. I think that's why PWG was as successful as it was.
Oh. Was the match y'all did last week the Super Dragon Excalibur match?
That was for Ring of Honor.
That was what? Oh, okay.
Because they posted it to their Facebook like 2 days after we did that show.
Those guys were kind of briefly in Ring of Honor, but that would be a match you would see in PWG because both of those guys were PWG mainstays.
Well, they were founders. Super Dragon was like the owner, and I don't know. Excalibur's listed as a founder, but I don't know like what his involvement was.
I think Super Dragon still owns it.
I think they did commentary. His girlfriend.
He did.
His girlfriend. I don't want to. I think his girlfriend has cancer, but I don't know that 100% sure. I know he's taking care of her.
Yes, my understanding, and again, I don't know anything other than just I read on the internet, so that's like, problematic potentially. But my understanding is that he's the owner, and that his partner, girlfriend, wife, whomever, has cancer or has some sort of significant chronic health condition.
Debilitating.
Yes, so he's basically like a full-time caregiver.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what he does as a full-time job, or he has a full-time job that he's doing that on top of it. But basically, there's no spare time,
I'm
for him to
imagining,
run a rather big indie promotion
and
on the side.
I'm guessing like any spare capital he has to go into that versus
Probably.
running a wrestling promotion.
Yeah, we're not here to talk about that, but I could get on a soapbox for the next hour about like healthcare in America and all the things that I have gripes about it with. But yeah, that's my understanding as to why they're not doing any more shows and haven't for like at least a couple of years. And even before then, when they were trying to bring it back, I don't think it wasn't just like, oh well, what's the talent? Because there at least certainly then there was like indie talent that they could pull from. I think his
but
partner
COVID. I think
may have
COVID
still
kind
been.
of. They were kind of running out of
COVID,
steam going into COVID. I think they never quite recovered from COVID. And the worst part is they were in California, so like they really fell behind because they would have been like one of the last places allowed to like run shows.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what killed them. And like you said, like because I was thinking about that because it's Mania week. And I'm just thinking like, man, I just don't give a shit about any of the indie shows because there's just no one I give a crap about seeing.
that makes me think like what I'm gonna look right now and see what collective shows there are. I remember seeing that like a few weeks back, and there was like a couple shows.
There is a Juggalo show is one of them.
I'm looking. Oh, so they've already. Oh, it starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
The kickoff is tomorrow. So there's Podermania. There's a Dragon Gate show.
That's Dragon Gate
Hybrid
USA,
Wrestling.
So.
So Dragon Gate USA. So what is it like? Some sort of Gabe show?
No, it just runs once a year. They ran it last year. I think there'll be a WrestleCon show because they're the ones. Because the guy that runs that, who is the owner of High Spots, pretty much just did a fuck you festival for Carlos Silva, to saying like that
Yeah.
pretty much that Meltzer knew about it. Like, so he's running the show, and Meltzer knew about it before they knew about it or the talent, and Carlos Silva has not talked to him, even though he pulled Lee. And Leon wasn't going to lose because they are going to use it to build his profile up.
Oh, wow.
Which again, I'm not. I wish I was a billionaire Tony Khan, because if I was a billionaire, I'd solve a lot of my problems. But he's very nice. I understand you want to be nice about your partners, the people that you're, and maybe you take a very hands-off approach with indie bookings that your talent wants to do, because it's good. It's good that people get reps, and they're going to go make money elsewhere. I get that, but he was facing Ricochet, who's very heavily featured on AEW TV, and I don't know if it was me, and the proposed finish was Leon Slater going over Ricochet. And we all know that Leon, as soon as he's able to, is going to get poached by the WWE. Like, I wouldn't do them any favors.
Poached him for that. But you know what? This is where.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't do. If I was TK, I wouldn't do any favors. If I heard like, well, Leon's going over, I'd be like, no, he's not. He's not going to go over. Or Ricochet's not going to be on your card, and like they're going to hate you anyway. They're going to talk shit about Tony Khan.
Yeah.
But so I would.
Well, actually,
in that case, I would not.
That's the funny part.
If it was anyone else, if it was like it was Ricochet versus like some Joe Schmo, as long as it wasn't like a WWE affiliated in any way, WWE, TNA, whatever, I would be like, yeah, whatever. Like Ricochet can.
That's actually the funny part, because there's been a lot of butthurt because Brett Lauderdale and Pat Buck have both said like, yeah, well, so Brett Lauderdale's like, yeah, I've had some bumps with Tony Khan, but he's been good to me, and then Pat Buck was like, yeah, Carlos Silva, you should learn from Tony Khan how to run a wrestling promotion.
Oh, Pat Buck lit TNA and Carlos Silva up.
Let him have it.
Well, because he got fucked. He got fucked.
Yeah,
he did.
Because he lost
he the one who was doing
he
the?
lost Nick
Is
he lost Nick Namath versus MJF.
And that's on the Thursday night show. That was the Mark Hitchcock Memorial show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was Pat Bug running that? I don't know.
think so.
I know he was one of these shows. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he has every right to. The Brett Lauderdale Hill was personally funny to me because, like, I remember like a year or so ago, like Effie being a moron and talking so much mad shit about Tony Khan, and it's like. It just made me laugh because it's like, yeah, your boss, Brett Lauderdale, had very nice things to say effectively about Tony Khan, where it's like, yeah, he's like a good guy to work with, good guy to deal with. He's been fair. Even like, oh, I've had my issues, but he's been fair. Like, that's just,
Well, he kind of went.
He doesn't have the same issues apparently Effie does. But
whatever. he kind of has been scorched earth since the other topic because he went off about the stabbing thing.
Brett,
yeah, because they lost the show there, and that's like I think is the Berwyn Eagles Club is like an iconic indie wrestling venue because that's where Shimmer did all their shows. That's where AAW did their shows. Like that is a huge loss for indie wrestling in Illinois. It's really bad, and it was over something stupid. Well, let's get to the match and we'll get to it. So
look at that. Hold on. Let me finish one thing. Just like the collective, I'm looking at it. There's a Progress show on Thursday. Maybe
they haven't mattered in a decade since they've been over and since they've been over and grabbed their ankles for the WWE. They haven't mattered.
On Friday, there's Joey Janela's Spring Break. There's usually always something that's kind of notable about that, but it's not what it was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
He's been. I should look because he's been really on a tear since the stab. He is like 24/7 clowning Ricky Shane Page.
People can have their thoughts on Joey Janela. Like I actually value Joey Janela's like input because like whatever you can say about the guy, I don't think he's a bad worker, but I think that guy actually does care about indie wrestling. And he actually has done a lot for the business in his own way. So
he's got some strange like tard charisma that just attracts hot women, like one after the other.
He
punches well above his weight.
Dude's got game.
Oh my god, his scorecard is pretty impressive. Like,
because like there's these like statuesque like beautiful women, and then you have Gollum next to them.
Yeah, you have a guy who looks like he's like he'd be a bum outside of a gas station. Like that's Joey Janela.
He looks like he'd be He looks like he'd be like the groundskeeper in like the 80s like college movie. Like he'd be like Bill Murray's helper in like Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Look, I cannot hate on him because I don't understand how, but the dude got game in a way that is damn near a superpower.
Yeah. Friday has one of his spring break shows.
Good Lord. Okay.
There's the Juggalo show. There's Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, which is like that.
They hurt themselves with the NXT talent.
And if you say this on Twitter, Josh Barnett will jump in your mentions and be very angry and pissed off and yell at you. But
yeah, Josh Barnett, I'm gonna send a DX thing. Like, you can suck it, buddy. Like, fuck off. That
stopped mattering. That show stopped mattering, and it just was throw it in the trash bin. I don't care anymore. When he just started booking WWE NXT talent, and they all went over.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is? It would be fine if they use like Clint Dempsey. Like that makes sense. Like William Regal's kid. Like use him. That makes sense. Like he fits your thing. But they were using like people that
Patrick Dempsey. Well, I don't even like that. I don't even like because it's.
But like, he makes sense. What I'm saying is he makes sense. Like his style and his character makes sense for Bloodsport.
Yeah,
but they're using people where it's like, why are you using them?
Well, you're like constantly like pushing Natty. Yeah, and trying to be like, oh, she's like this shooter, and it's like,
did
they have her fight didn't they have her fight like Miyu
Maybe
Yamashita? I forgot how to pronounce this. I think
Yamashita.
Yamashita.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't like it. It's just I'm over it. But then I guess
I don't like promoters trying to big dog you in replies. So Barnett, like, you can fucking suck it, buddy.
And then Saturday they have Effie's Big Gay Brunch, which again,
that lost its luster. It lost its
luster a long time ago, and it's fallen off even more than spring.
Because they use the same.
Break, like, there'll be something interesting.
Because they use the same talent every year. I think that's why the Big Gay Brunch. Like, it was a fun novelty for a couple years, but now it's like, oh, you have Kid Bandit again. Like, okay.
I think Kid Bandit's getting ready to hang it up.
Is that true?
Kid Bandit's kind of a lolcow.
Well, as I remember,
Kid Bandit's what?
Kid Bandit's become kind of a lolcow.
She actually improved in the ring, and she's kind of interesting. But I felt, well, I would almost feel like she's less of a lolcow now. I don't know. Maybe she said some things.
She's kind of a spurg on Twitter.
I don't know. I don't really follow a lot of what she said or look and see. I feel in the past she was more of a lolcow because she'd be talking about how, like, oh, I try to incorporate like anime moves into my ring, and it's like, don't do that. Don't do that. That's kind of embarrassing.
I think I think why she's a lolcow is she's kind of a chronic oversharer online, and you tend to become
that's not a good idea for anyone. Like, don't do that.
No, I hate that because there's
form like a weird parasocial relationship with you.
That's
just not a good thing.
There's drama going on right now. I won't go too deep into it, but like, it's the Kino Casino's like been making fun of the quartering, and he's like freaking out, and it's like he's freaking out about shit they're making fun of him for, and it's all stuff he said like on video. And he's freaking out about, it's like, well, don't share that stuff then. Like, I just don't get people that do that, and then they get mad at people when like it comes up again. It's like, people only know what you share. Like, I don't like. I'll use our show as a great example. We've all been online for a long time. Like, I don't share much about my personal life on this show. Like, small tidbits, but like, most people don't know what I do when I'm not online here, and they don't know much about what Shad does. They don't know about much what Matt does, because we don't share that stuff. Like, anything I say on this show, I would expect to be seen by someone and come up again.
Yeah, Kid Bandit's getting ready to wrap up the in-ring. I don't know if it's this week or what, but I know that the last match is scheduled.
She's done that before because she's had like health issues. I think she had like concussion issues or something before. So this could be I think she's young, probably in her 20s still. But this could be like a Terry Funk. It's like, all right, so for my first or second retirement.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
Look, this is wrestling is a business that if you need to step away, like, more people should have that attitude. Like, step away.
I think,
and then if you can come back, if not, that's great.
I think she's in that unfortunate space where, well, for one, I think it's probably getting harder and harder to earn a living in wrestling. And I think for someone like that, she's probably about as high up as she's going to get. And I think you have to start looking at some point of, well, I could be a weekend warrior, which is fine. I'm not bashing that or anything, but you do hit a point, especially if you had concussion problems, of like, okay, like, I'm obviously not going to make it to AEW or WWE. Like, how long do I keep destroying myself for whatever I'm earning versus I'll just hang it up and maybe do it a couple times a year for fun versus...
I've talked about a local indie, local to kind of my area, Virginia Championship Wrestling, and they run mostly in Norfolk, Virginia.
Is that like Roanoke. The remnants of Nova? Kind of their
yes and no.
spiritual
It is
replacement.
maybe spiritual replacement, but it's not really because like it was kind of already established. It's just they didn't really run Northern Virginia. That was so Northern uh, Virginia professional wrestling. They kind of had that marketed, I guess, and into Maryland. But this one was mostly like Roanoke and in Norfolk, Virginia, and they've come up a little further to just outside of DC, and they've been doing that maybe 2 to 3 times a year. So they've been coming up more. So they're kind of filling that. I guess in that way there is a spiritual successor. But they're basically are at that like the Weekend Warriors. Like, because it's like the same. It's usually like the same roster of guys with maybe some variation. Yeah. But I don't think that's a bad thing because that's like almost like how it was back in the day when it was territories. It's like you got your small little territory.
Yeah.
And for them, it's like the Northern Virginia area maybe into like Maryland and a little bit into like Pennsylvania, like the guys that are on the show. Because the last show I went, which was quite some time ago, but like Wheeler Yuta was on it, and he's long after he had signed to AEW, but he's a guy who, if you watched him before he even signed with AEW, he was in like the Mid-Atlantic area. He was
because
I think he's from Pennsylvania.
He used to do the CWF Mid-Atlantic because he was like a young boy there.
Yeah, I've seen him wrestle in Virginia. I think he's from PA, so he did like PA stuff, Maryland. Another guy who's with Virginia Championship Wrestling is, well, you know him best from Chikara as Blank, but Logan Easton LaRue.
Oh yeah.
Who's probably like at this point. He had retired. I saw his last match was actually with Wheeler Yuta, but he's still advertised on the stuff. So I don't know if he's like semi-retired or just doing like.
He's a long time.
Maybe he helps.
Like
maybe he helps run it, so he's like a manager or stuff like that.
He's probably had like a close to 20-year career. Like he's a long time veteran.
Yeah, he's a good wrestler. Like if he's smaller, but that's a guy that I actually even if he's like 40 or in his early 40s, like I would actually love to see him just use as a guy, even an enhancement on Ring of Honor. I think he would fit in well with there. But
yeah,
I think if you're a Weekend Warrior, but it's like, or like Shad, like Kentucky Championship Wrestling, it's like you're just a local guy. Like I think it's perfectly fine. And like, what are your aspirations? If you want to be like, I want to be on WrestleMania, it's like most people aren't going to get that in their career.
No.
But I'd be perfectly happy. If I was like a worker, I'd be perfectly happy being like, yeah, this is my state. I live here. I can do shows like maybe a couple times a month and only have to travel like 2-3 hours to get to those shows. Like that'd be a great deal.
Yeah, but I think
if you're trying to make a living,
that's where it gets tough.
Yeah. That's that. I mean, look, that's what I was. I'll fully admit it. I was a Weekend Warrior type. And part of it was that I knew I got started late enough and did not have the right connections to I did not get an opportunity to really get in somewhere that I thought I could grow and expand. Do I wish I could? Sure, 100% wish I could. But that's just not how life played out. So what I tried to do was get my name in with some different places and do some stuff with some different people and make a good impression. And right about the time I felt like I started getting it's when I got too hurt to keep going. But on the other hand, I also think back sometimes and go, well, not only did you get to do it, but you got to really, having an event where the whole building is chanting my name is one of those memories that I'm taking to the grave with me. It's like that's what worries me is when I say, oh, I know if I stay away from drugs because if I found the one that ever made me feel like that, I'm sunk. Okay, I ain't messing with it.
Well, I mean, there's think whatever you want, but there's like a story Quackenbush told when they were young, They were talking about how they would go to this promotion. And, it was like one of those guys that had been doing it for 20 years, and like his finisher was like a hip drop, and they kind of made fun of him. But I think they got screwed, or they got paid like less than they thought, and they were actually like out of money from like the tools and everything. And one of those guys like took him out to like dinner after that, and like gave him some money to get him back. And he's like, that was a really humbling experience early in my career. So I think like, I mean, for me, I think it's fine to be a weekend warrior. I honestly think that's more that has more merit to it than the people that are starving trying to make like a full-time living at it and it's not working.
Yeah. One last thing about collectives, all I'll say is Shad on, I guess,
Yes.
Joey Janela's Spring Break number 10 on Friday. It's going to be Joey Janela versus -1.
Oh, okay.
So-
I did see that. I saw the contract thing for it, and I'm like, look, I like -1. I want him to do well. Bro, I need you to work on your punches a little bit, please.
Well,
Please work on your punches a little bit.
Speaking of punches, we do have a question in chat about if there's any modern wrestlers that remind us of Ronnie Garvin. That is an interesting question because
it's intriguing.
Well, because I don't know, because Ronnie Garvin, so my early introduction to Ronnie Garvin is kind of his WWF run where he just didn't work. He did not work there. But I've seen more of him like when he was younger. We did a long time ago, we did like a match he had with Flair where they were just stiffing the hell out of each other.
Oh, beating them.
On
each other, yeah.
So I've learned to like appreciate him a lot more over time, but I don't know, like maybe like
he was a good worker.
Maybe like Minoru Suzuki in a way. But
let me
even then,
pose
like, he's different.
Oh, question.
I know exactly. I have the exact answer to this. Ishii.
You know what? I was thinking Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah.
He might be like the closest to that. Hands of Stone, Japanese worker, for Walter, if he's not seen him. Ishii has popped up on
Big Tom
a few times. Big Tom.
Yeah. Dude, I love Ishii. So and I'm gonna say what I love about Ishii, and then I'm gonna go back and check and make sure, because I don't think I've seen as much Garvin as you guys have. But I love that Ishii looks. I mean, first of all, Ishii looks like his nickname. He's stubborn, honestly tough guy looking, no frills. I'm gonna beat the living hell out of you, and I expect you to give it back to me, and it looks fantastic kind of guy. Probably my favorite Japanese wrestler, to be honest. I know he's not the the biggest name or the most impressive or anything, but man, I just love how he does stuff.
He's a very well respected guy because he's probably been around. I would say he's a mid-carder in New Japan, but he's been around for like 15 years, and he's got like great matches. Because there's a match he and Hamna had like at one point that's like amazing. He just had a really good one on AEW recently.
He had a really good one with Olton Bolgan. I might be pronouncing that right. Who's one of the young guys, not quite a young boy, but one of the younger guys in New Japan. I still like, a lower guy, but I think it's where Olton won like the Neverweight Open, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I haven't seen that, but it got rave reviews. Ishii is older now, and he's a little bit like broken down.
Yeah, I think
but for a long time. Yeah, for a long time, he is kind of like mid-card. He's mid-card, but for the longest time, he's a dude that at every year you could count on him having like a couple matches that are legit like 5-star matches because he put on like an amazing performance. And Dave Meltzer earlier today, he was gonna get to talk more about like, because people were complaining about Ospreay and his selling and the Mox match he just had at the Dynamite pay-per-view, but Meltzer was giving Ishii like praise for his selling, and it's like, yeah, you have to watch more of Ishii, like a good amount of it, and Dave certainly has. But Ishii does have like really good selling, because it's not people.
Yeah.
There's a whole philosophy we could talk like for an hour about selling, and Chad would have a lot of good input because he did it.
Well,
Like he actually
Ishii's kind
worked in
of
the ring, but
Ishii's kind of like I'm gonna go video game. Ishii's kind of like a tank in an MMO. Like he just comes
he
at
is.
you.
He just comes at you. He takes a lot of punishment. He's, you know, he felt like a fire plug.
And he wants to duke it out. Like he wants to, like he wants you to fight. Like he wants you to give it back to him. Like I don't know. Like he's kind of just like a brawler. Like I don't know. Like in modern MMA, there's not like a good analog to that. He's kind of like what Don Fry would have been, just because I have Don Fry on the brain because I saw his new shirt. But
yeah.
So Ishii selling, the way that I describe it is, Ishii is the kind of guy where you just see him over the course of the match start to wear down. One of the go-to tricks that I had when I was selling is I would always try and do something that, as part of it, would affect my leg. So my left knee is shot. My left knee's been shot for a long time. Let me see how old. My left knee has been shot basically for 20 years. I am very used to limping on that. So when I was in the ring, if I had cause to, I could do a very good limp sell to go with it. And the rougher the match was, the more I would play into it as kind of a trick to it. But Ishii doesn't have that. Ishii slows down and just kind of looks more and more rattled as his selling, but it never takes him out of it. You know, he can come back into it with this big burst of energy and hammering away at you. But you can tell his gas tank's getting lower and lower and lower, and the armor's kind of falling off as it goes. And I love it. Yeah. I love it. It is a unique style that's not easy to do.
I think he doesn't quite work because he has a different aura, but Shibata kind of has that like just beat you senseless thing that Garvin had, but like he has a much more like, oh, here's this pretty boy that's just gonna come and stomp the shit out of you because he can. And he's gonna be unapologetic.
Shibata is who I was trying to be at some points in my career without knowing I was trying to be Shibata.
Yeah, he's like the I'm gonna sit here and comb my hair while I chop you into oblivion.
My take on Shibata is that he comes off to me as very much a tweener. It's not face or heel. It's, we're going out here and we're having a match, and I'm going to try to win. And I don't care
he's kind of
what it is. I'm trying to win.
That's what I liked about the Ops was like they were never faces or heels. It was just about whoever happened to be in their way, and their characters didn't change. It was just the target. Like I like tweeners like that, because I don't like when people make big personality changes. I like when Cornette and the Midnight Express went face in like 88 and 89. Like they didn't really change that much. They were just the people's assholes at that point. And like Cornette was still like doing the same promos. It was just aimed at people, the crowd were cheering him for instead of like booing him for.
They were not exactly faces or heels until they clearly became heels, but it was not out of character for them to do that.
Yeah. So
like yes. Go ahead.
So we're gonna hit the match so we can get into the other stuff.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot to talk about with some other stuff. But so this is Super Dragon versus Kevin Steen. This is from December of 2005. I looked, they were kind of feuding in this era. So because essentially Kevin Steen's a heel in this. Kevin Owens, if you don't know,
yeah,
you don't know him by that. So he's very young in this. Without facial hair, he kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, that's fresh faced Kevin Steen.
Yeah, so Super Dragon is the champion and Steen is like chasing him, and he's obviously the heel here. I wouldn't say Super Dragon is very face-ish, but he's obviously like the crowd is on his side, and Steen is obviously like the heel. So, how do I start with this match? So, there was someone talking about today on social media about how we just have to accept that excess in wrestling like won and minimalist wrestling doesn't exist anymore. And I was kind of like, I really don't want to hear about the excesses in wrestling because like we've been watching a lot of aughts indie wrestling and like it's really excessive. And I'm just like, man, like, like I've had complaints about like NXT over the years or AEW or Ring of Honor or even WWE, but it's like, man, like there's so many lessons every company has learned from this era and like the workers have. Because I do think AEW in particular can have its excesses. I think they've been better like the last year and a half. And they've been a lot better. They've been a lot better about from what I've seen of they go right up to the line of excess and then they stop right at the line. Like they haven't done anything like too over the top.
Yeah, it's been okay. To put a definition on the excess, at least for me, one of the things that the excess I think that frustrates me the most is they'll have this spot that would be an amazing place that the match could just end. Like, oh, dude, that was great. That should be the finish. And they keep going.
Yep. Because
it's not just that they keep going, but in this era, in the aughts era, they keep going again. And then they keep going again. And then they keep... And at which point, here's why I'm frustrated. Number one, not only did we have, like, these emotional crescendos that would have been perfect endings, but number two, now you have burned potential endings that you could have in future matches. For reasons that pass my understanding.
And the thing is, like this match is a great example so I'll just go into those parts because it is important this match. So there's a point where like they're doing a bunch of stuff for like the first 10 minutes, and there's a point where like Super Dragon kind of puts Owen's like head through a chair and does this knee drop on him onto the chair. Looks amazing. Looks like he kills him. And Steen kicks out. And I'm just like, if it would have ended there, it would have been perfect. Because I think what people don't see a lot is like, as Shad talks about like the crescendo, when you hit that crescendo, the next one is not necessarily going to be as high. So you like this match is a law of diminishing returns because there's like a second part that would have been an okay ending where like Steen pile drives him onto a bunch of chairs, but then it kind of devolves as it goes from there because like there's this point where like Owens is looking for like this piece of wood with like the barbed wire on it, and he's like walking through this door, and they're just looking at a door for like 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes, but it felt like
it's not
minutes.
That long.
It felt that long.
But it's he's out the door for 30 seconds and the camera's just sitting on the door.
Yeah.
And it's like
what you doing?
What are we doing? Yeah.
And they kind of lost the plot too because there's some stuff I liked earlier. Like they did this table spot and they really teased the table for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then there's some other stuff they did, like they brought thumbtacks in, which is fine, but then they didn't spread them out, so they did their big thumbtack spot. And it didn't work because the thumbtacks were two together. So then, like, Super Dragon didn't get that many thumbtacks in his.
So, this was the era before they started putting the thumbtacks in the signature black velvet bag.
Yeah.
Because now someone holds up that black bag and you're like, oh, there's thumbtacks in it. But in this one, they got a bucket.
Yeah.
He picks up a bucket and just pulls the lid off and then just dumps them all straight out. Like, whenever they loosen up the drawstrings on the thumbtack, then they slew them across the ring. So it's this big visual, and it makes it look like there's more than there are, but it's this big thing across the ring.
But it also spreads them out.
If you just take it and do this, yeah. If you just do this, then they all just go right here.
And then when you, why that doesn't work though is because if you do a spot onto them, they're gonna smush together, and they're not gonna have the space to go into your back. Is the problem.
It's not going to give you the visual that you want, so you get all the pain and none of the benefit.
Actually, that might be worse. In some ways,
I don't know. I never did that. I can't tell you.
I will still say I would do thumbtacks before I did the Lego spots I've seen in some matches. But I don't know. Shad's actually done it. I think Legos would be worse than thumbtacks.
For me, thumbtacks would probably be worse because I don't do well with sharp pain. And whenever you spread Legos out, you're going to have some sharp pain from the edges, but it's not the same as a whole bunch of like stabbings in your skin.
Yeah, but there's spots
that's just my guess. I could be wrong. I just don't ever want to find out.
There's spots where people like get their boots torn off and like have to step on the Legos. That's where I'm just like, I can't do that because I've done that before, and like, let me tell you, it was not. This was a couple weeks ago, like a month ago now. I somehow managed to drop like an empty mason jar on like the middle toe of my foot, and that hurts so bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
so they're having this match, and the structure of it's a little bit, I'm going to say messy.
It starts
because
okay.
The beginning of it, they're just brawling. They're on the outside and they're brawling and
they're
throwing each other around and throwing stuff. Yes, and that's fine. This is supposed to be a grudge match, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got this back and forth going there. You can take this match and break it into 3 distinct portions, and this brawl on the outside is the first one. And then, because they're not just brawling, they are wilding out, because it's not just like, hey, I'm throwing you over here. They're like hucking them through the chairs on the floor. Yeah. And they're picking up the chairs and they're just winging them at each other, and they're laying into each other. It's like, okay, all right. Yeah. And then they get in the ring and they start building out more of the story in there. And then you get the ending point where it got to that point, and I'm like,
there was a chair spot I really liked, because they were on the ground and Kevin Steen went to grab a chair like he's gonna hit him, and Super Dragon cut him off by just punching him in the balls.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Matt?
There was just, I get what you're saying, because by the end it's like fatigue. First off, it's like a 30-minute match, and it's not like, oh, there's all this downtime. Like it's all gas. Like they were just beating the hell out of each other for 30 minutes. But yeah, there was all these. It's just it got like to be big spot after big spot after big spot, and it was good, but it was also like you get almost like desensitized, where it's like, oh, that's the finish, right? Oh no. Oh well, this one is. This move is the fin. Oh, okay. And then like that for like 10 more times.
Well, and
they got by the end, you're just like, is this the? Oh, it's the end. Okay,
and
finally it's the end.
They got redundant with it too. I think that was also like, it got predictably redundant, where it'd be like, okay, well, the one guy got the table out. Well, this is going to lead into a counter, and he's going to get thrown through whatever he set up. Like, there's always going to, they're always going to do the same tease. Like, they kind of did that too many times.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like the spots got less cool as it went. Like, 'cause I feel like the early the early like knee onto the chair from Super Dragon was the coolest spot. Because it was like the most visual impact. It had the cool sound to it, and like it felt like that was a real crescendo of the match too.
Yeah, that was a great spot. And like you said, it looked and sounded great. And the problem is that by doing that spot and then continuing the match, you are incredibly devaluing what that was.
And he curb stomped him
like,
onto the chair right before that too, so it even had that going for it.
Yeah. The reason I call that, Matt, go ahead.
Oh no, you finish your thought. I was gonna separate thought. Go ahead.
The reason that I point at that moment is back and forth and back and forth. Now Super Dragon's up on him. He does the curb stomp onto the chair. He sets it up. He does the thing with the knee drop onto the chair around his head. Like, it is at that point that you look at it and go, all right, yeah, you win. Good job. And then he's like, oh, he kicks out. So now I'm going to do another curb stomp. And I'm like, what are you, why are we still, it feels to me like it lets a bunch of air out of the balloon. Now, I will also say that it's a different era because the crowd it's over in the building. That's the phrase I was trying to grab for.
Well, they kind of started
at least to me.
I feel like they started losing the building because they got smarkier as it went on versus just reacting.
At least for me, I was just, after that spot and he kicks out of it and he goes do something, I'm just like,
yeah,
man, you had it.
And it was a good story because, Super Dragon is the champion. Kevin Steen is this young pup up and comer. There, you end on cheer spots like, oh yeah, the young pup thought he had it on him, and then Super Dragon just left him a broken mess after he put a beating on him. Like that was a great 11-minute match with a story to it.
Yeah.
Did that happen at 11 minutes?
11 or 12 minutes, because I looked, I'm like, oh god, there's a lot of match left. Maybe 15.
Okay.
Yeah. It was early.
Okay.
It was real.
I couldn't remember
because
where
there's
the
a lot of
happened.
Because there's a lot of dead time in the middle, like Kevin Owens. Sorry, I keep going back and forth. Like Steen getting the chairs out from the ring took a really long time.
The point that I was going to make earlier is, I guess, tangentially related, but not to that discussion. Just I personally really like Super Dragon's curb stomp, and I think it's both way far better than Seth Rollins' curb stomp, or even Jon Moxley, who does like the curb stomp the same way that Seth Rollins does, where it's just like, let me run where my opponent is like contrived to be like on their hands and knees, and then go around and do like this stomp. Meanwhile, Super Dragon just has your arms like twisted back, and he just like stomps you down. And he did one of them. There was multiple curb stomps in this, but visually he can make it look really good and impressive. But he did one that it was like the camera's pretty close. And Shad, like you're like the guy who actually did work of the three of us. But to me, it looks like it's probably a way safer move. They did it, and I saw it like up close in one of the ones he did. Like the guy, but like to his, and like it's like the Steen like for, and like it like it was used to like it first like his did because they were of his chest first, like his he and move that down like he's on pack off him down like back the up. I think how that particular of those issue press, but I like how the sausage looked more. I think I think it far better. It's more painful. It looks more like real, like a move that would end a match than whatever Seth Rollins does. I don't know.
So
I said last week I thought
you
every tall, lanky guy should do that move because, like, if you've got like long arms and like long legs, you can make that move look really cool.
So we got into it a little bit last week, and I'll be honest, I like both of those moves. I just wish that there was a good name, a good different name to put on one of them. Like Super Dragons, hook them, lift them up, put them down, looks great. Daniel Garcia started doing it, and I love that Daniel Garcia started doing it because not only does it look good when he does it, but it also feels like it fits for where he's at right now. That makes sense.
And I think that's the move that should be the curb stomp because it does make you, when they do the Super Dragon version, it does make you think about American History X. So it should be the curb stomp.
I think that, yeah, like you said, whenever you come down with Super Dragon's curb stomp, you've got an opportunity to really go down chest first and kind of mitigate the impact. But if you go down and they let go and your arms go out, and it's this big, could sound great. Seth Rollins' curb stomp has, like, it could be very easy to be safe for someone you do it to because you run, you jump, you put your foot there, and all you do is you keep your foot by their head and they control their fall. Or you could be a dick about it and run and jump and literally, do the move, right? Like I said, I like them both. The thing that I don't care about how Super Dragon does it is I don't love the Indian Deathlock he has to put him in before he can go for the arms. That feels too contrived to me. If I was going to do that move, the thing I would do is the guy's laying on the ground. I grab the arm, and then I'm gonna take a couple steps to roll him over, and then grab the other arm. So I've already got a hold of the one, and then I step, grab the arm, step over, and pull them over. And as they come over, I'm going to grab the other arm and pull them up, and then I'm going to put my foot up. And I know I did say this last week. I don't love where Super Dragon puts his foot to do it because you put it on the back of the neck, and that just seems like that's an opportunity to cause a bunch of problems. But if you put it just below the back of the neck, you could get the same kind of thing without your foot slipping onto their neck or something causing an issue.
I didn't hate it as much the way he did it to Steen because it looked pretty safe the way he and Steen were doing it. But Steen also was doing it like he was taking it very well because he was like turning his head and he like, yeah. I think that's a move where if you were dumb, like, you know how people get mad at AJ Styles when someone takes the Styles Clash and they tuck their head and
because that's a reflex that people have, and you have to make sure with the Styles Clash you don't reflexively tuck. I just don't like Super Dragon's foot placement for it.
I think you're right though. If you put it on the back of the back, it wouldn't affect the visual.
I think it would still be fine, but in any event, I like both of them. And I'm glad to see somebody has picked up Super Dragon's version to keep it going.
Yeah.
Well, and Daniel Garcia has done PWG, so I'm not saying like, oh, he learned it from Super Dragon, but maybe he's doing it. He's done it as an homage.
I don't remember his name, but there was like a tall, lanky guy in NWA Anarchy that did it. He was probably like, he's really tall and skinny, so it looked awesome when he did it. But like, the barbed wire I didn't need, and it was obviously fake. I mean, which I wouldn't expect it to. It just made me think of like Cage of Death and how they did the barbed wire on the board and how well that match was worked and how much they kept it in their pants and how the barbed wire only figured into the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And like how here it did not because they did a couple spots into it. And I didn't like the end because like they kind of fucked the end too because like it does end with Kevin Steen in the barbed wire, but he kind of had to roll into it to make it work. And it was kind of obvious he like rolled into it to make it work.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the fans like this is a personal gripe, but and I know it's indie wrestling, but like when there are parts where like the fans were up ringside, like smacking on the ring, it's like, no, you need security to get them away because that could.
Yeah.
Yeah, back them up.
Though I do admit, like, there are spots where Chikara would do it, where they would have someone in the, like the abdominal stretch, like Scott Hall, and they would have the fans like form a chain to like grab their hand to get extra leverage. Like, I think stuff like that's fine. Or like when they do this stuff, I don't know if they do as much on indie shows, but it was a thing for a while where like the face would take the heel around and let fans chop them. Because Chris Zelder has Chris Zelder had a funny story because he was wearing a Jimmy Valiant shirt at an indie show and the Barbarian was there. And he's like, "Nice shirt, brother," as he walked by. And then he took him over there to chop him, and then he did. He's like, "Oh, not so hard, brother."
Yeah.
You'll still see like heels get shot by fans, but a lot of times what I see now is like they'll go and if it's like there's a kid.
Yeah. They used to have
like,
Chuck
they'll
Taylor
have
a
kid
lot.
shot because like the kid they'll have like the kid chop. Sometimes the heel will like sell for it. It's like even though it's a kid.
Yeah.
That I don't mind at all. Like that's because the kid's not going to go into
it's fun.
into business for himself, but
I wouldn't know how to do it. So like I wouldn't know how to do it. Like if I wouldn't be comfortable if they did that to me a show. Cause I'm like, well, I don't want to do it hard enough to hurt you, but I also don't want to like. You don't want to be a bitch about it either and do like some little tap. Like you want to give them a little something without it being too much. You know what I mean? You want to get the sound without like doing much damage. And there's some shows. There's some shows around here though where some of those like guys that show up to those shows, I would not want them chopping you even if they mean well. Like some of those guys are.
Yeah. Oh, you don't want some like Robin.
Yeah.
Dude in the audience.
Especially, I imagine like at Kentucky shows, you get some of those like, because there was a OVW thing because they would have Mark Henry like Ben Steele, and they challenged a fan to do it. Jim Cornette's like, yeah, you wouldn't believe it, but yeah, one of those raw-boned hillbilly fucks managed to do it, and like they made a big deal out of it.
Oh, there's some raw-boned hillbilly dudes out there that can be like, oh, like I gotta put this motor in the back of my pickup truck, and it just left like a 400-pound, motor, like it's nobody's business.
And there's some like, I mean, out where I live now, like there's some farm girls you don't want to do it either that are like, chucking, carrying hay bales and like tracking to, dragging their cattle back and stuff. Like you don't want them smacking you either, because that's what they said. That was
what are you about to say?
With I can't think of his name.
Andy Kaufman?
Yeah, Andy Kaufman, because he wanted to shoot them all, and like Jerry Jarrett's like, have you seen some of the women that come to the...
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like that happened with Andy Kaufman, and where it's like he's like, no, some of these ladies, and like, no.
They only worked one. They only worked one of the matches with him because they worked the second Foxy match, but she gave him hell the first time, and they brought her back, but they worked the second match.
What would happen, Brad, if I were to do it? Like you just got to go like, you got to have these on hand. You got to just do this. Put on your sunglasses and just a full Orange Cassidy. You guys, I would buy. You guys, it's like it's been on the internet, but you guys have probably seen it. But the match, it was at It was in 2019. It was the WrestleCon show in New York, where it was Orange Cassidy versus it was SCU and Orange Cassidy. I think I forget if X-Pac was in that match. He was on the show, but that match, and it was like Chris Daniels and Orange Cassidy. They just were trading chops. It was just like
the underrated.
Yeah,
the underrated.
It was the best thing live. It was the best thing live. It was so funny.
You need to go back and watch it because you missed the best part of it. Because the camera people started doing the Bucky Beaver like zoom in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zoom in.
Well, and it was funny. It was funny too. I don't know if you could tell live, but like Christopher Daniels was trying so hard not to crack. Like you could just see him like he was doing the mean mug. Like I'm trying not to. Because that's my favorite part of the. Because I use the meme like the Scott Steiner like he's fat and like Sting just loses his shit behind him.
Well, speaking of Orange Cassidy and Sting, the best will be like the interaction with Sting and Orange Cassidy outside, where Sting started doing it. Yeah, and it came out afterward because Sting's at his point of his career. He's just talking about his career, but like he's there, no qualms about anything. But Shad, you and I are big Sting fans. You hear where Sting was just like, he just like ad-libbed that, where he was doing it, and he just like he started to do the.
Yeah. Well, no, they were
Sting like beating his chest, but in the Orange Cassidy style. That made it perfect. That right even, there.
Yeah.
The top.
God.
They weren't even.
Oh God.
They weren't even supposed. They weren't even supposed to do that. Like they weren't supposed to do that sequence at all, and Sting just initiated doing it.
Yeah.
They walked up to each other, and I think Sting kicked Cassidy first, and it's like. Look, how do you not follow up on that? That is the invitation right there.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Yeah. 100%.
I hate the outcome, but like he and Hogan still have one of my favorite spots when they did the rematch after Nitro where Sting like hulks up and then he kind of like hits the ropes and he falls and he headbutts Hogan right in the balls, and Hogan starts Hogan does a curly shuffle after after he gets head
Yep.
But yeah, this match, like I really liked the early part. There was a point where, but like after the chair spot, I just was like, I had trouble paying attention after that.
That pissed me off so much.
Because it was a great finish. It was a perfect finish.
Yeah. They pissed me off so much that it basically checked me out.
Me too.
Because they do that and he kicks out and then they go and I'm just like, never mind. Like that. That's how much I hate that. That's how much it takes me out of it.
Because I liked what they were doing up to that. I liked the top rope senton Steen did. I liked his healing. I like the table spot, like the way they teased that. They did a really good job with that. And that's where I think that's what pissed me off so much more. Like the discipline they showed with like the table spot teases was really good.
Yeah.
Like they did that perfectly.
So I'm going to reference something. I don't know if we've referenced this before because the guy's takes, at least to me, it's hard to tell when he's joking or when he's being serious or if I'm hot and cold on his takes about whether or not I agree with him. But Jack Vaughn's social media stuff has some takes on it that are just so spot on. It's unreal. And there's one of them that says, it overplayed Indy vet advice. And it's like, kid, sometimes less is more, which is Indy vet speak for I don't want to do all that. But what that advice really means is don't do everything. Leave some stuff out. Don't leave some stuff so that you have more to do later. If you've okay, I'm just off the top of my head. If you're using a DVD as a finish, don't do 5 DVD counters in one match. Just do one of them. If you've got them up for the DVD and they're going to slide down and DDT you as a counter, just do that. If they're going to slide off your back and into a sleeper with body scissors, just do that. If they're going to slide off your back and go into a backstabber, just do that. Don't do all of them.
Yeah, because
then you're devaluing.
Well, and the other thing is, like, especially if like you're going to start a feud, like that is good. That is good self-referential progression of maybe when it's the 4th match, you counter it 5 times because now he knows like your stuff, so it's getting progressively harder for you to do your moves. But not match 1, like because like I said, okay, maybe he does the DDT in the next match and you get him the 2nd time. And then like by the time you're getting to the last match, like, oh well crap, this guy just knows me now and it's really hard to do my stuff.
So here's the other thing. Because me saying this is, I can understand how it might come off as me being cranky old never was vet kind of stuff. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm trying, because are there matches where it is pedal all the way to the floor, gas the whole time that are a lot of fun to watch? Sure. I mean, good Lord, one of the things I cut my teeth on were the luchador matches on Nitro, right? Those were crazy stuff. But here's the thing. You did not see them do everything they could do every match. You've got to leave some stuff unsaid so that there's a reason for people to watch you again. And, you know, like the Juventud Kidman matches were great because they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff, right? But they didn't do that at the first. That was a series, what, 3 or 4 matches back and forth for the Cruiserweight title?
Well,
and every time you do that, they'd add some new crazy thing to it.
And they'd wrestled each other several times on their way up, too.
Yeah. So that it was every time they add a new thing. So it's exciting to watch again. Because they add a new thing. Look, if you can do the crazy athletic stuff, awesome. I want you to do the crazy athletic stuff. I want you to do what works for you. I want you to do what feels good. I want you to do what fits. But, you know, don't run down your playlist to the point where now everybody knows what it is. You know,
well, there's a wait, but you're not being a grumpy old vet, because I think when I think less is more has kind of gotten toxic, where you said it's a vet being like, well, I don't want to bump, so we're just going to work the arm for 20 minutes. Versus like, let's say you and I were having a match and you wanted to do this thing where like you hit like your finisher and I kicked out, we did some more stuff, and then you hit it a 2nd time and beat me, and I'm just like, and then my response was, why? Just hit your finisher and beat me.
Yeah. Why kick out on this one? It's the first match we've had with each other in like a year. Why do that?
Yeah.
This is the start of it.
And I'm not cutting you off. I'm not like minimizing. I'm not trying to, like bury you. I'm just saying, like, why do all that extra shit? Just beat me.
Whenever someone would hit me with something like that, my response would be, I'm up for it, but let's save it for the next match. Let's do this one. Let's play this one straight, because it's the first time we've had a match. Let's play this one straight, and then let's start messing with it.
Yeah, look at the Danielson Omega match, because that's easy to find, and I gave that 5 stars. Don't look at the things they do. Think about the context of the things they can do that they don't do within that match.
Mm-hmm.
Because they leave you wanting more. Mm. Because that's my thing. I've always said, I said it about a lot of things, like video games, movies. Like, it's better to give just not enough versus giving too much. Like, movies are really bad about that. It's like, well, it went 15 minutes too long. And, I don't like it less. Versus like, oh, that ended 5 minutes early. Oh, that kind of makes me want a sequel. Like, that's kind of what I think where less is more is better, which is like, you don't have to do everything.
Yeah.
Or, Orange Cassidy is really good at that progressive, like when he was like coming up, like when he would get, like when his stuff with Pac is really good, where he finally beat him, where like Pac would do some move and it'd be 3 months later and Pac would go for that move again and Orange Cassidy would avoid it.
My favorite example of Orange Cassidy doing a less is more thing was, I think it was, I guess it was the International Title Battle Royal thing they did. He and Swerve were the last ones in it. And they're on the outside, and he hits Swerve with something, and Swerve is like, feet are on the apron, arms are fully extended, he's holding on to that rope. Cassidy's on the apron, and he looks down at his hand for the orange punch, and I mean, it's all bandaged up because people have been attacking that arm and stuff. And he looks at it, and he's looking at Swerve, and you can tell he's thinking, is this worth it? And then he just walks over there and kicks Swerve's hands off. He did not have to do one more big thing because it wasn't necessary. He just walked over there, kicked his hands off, and that won it for him. And when he kicked his hands off, Swerve did one of the best things that damn near defies gravity. Is when his hands come off, Swerve starts doing like hand over hand grabbing before he goes to the floor. And it was beautiful, but he didn't have to do like a big jumping tumble, or he didn't have to do an orange punch for it even. He just stopped, looked at the situation, went, I don't need to do this, and walked over and just kicked his hands off the rope and won. And it was a perfect example. I don't have to try and find a new gear to go to when I can just do it here.
Yeah. So guys, I have some bad news that I have to share for the show. The Illinois police have confirmed there was indeed not a stabbing at the Berwyn Eagles Club.
Do you want to go ahead and get into that?
Yeah. It is because Brett Lauderdale's honestly been going off. Because so wrestling is banned from the Berwyn Eagles Club, which if you don't know is, I don't want to, iconic is overused, but I would say it's almost iconic because that's where all the Shimmer shows were. I'm going to say it right. AAW. I said it right. Haha. Did stuff there. Like that was like a go-to place in Illinois for wrestling. And so what happened is did they file a police report?
Okay. So the story that I heard about it,
well,
was primarily from one guy's point of view. Matt, you go ahead.
Well, my only thing is, and you have heard something. So, just to preface it, I initially thought that this was Major League Wrestling. It isn't. No, but that's because Mads Kruger, who's like the MLW champion or one of their main stars,
he should know better than what happened here.
He should know better, but he's one of their main stars. I think he's their champion. He did.
He just lost the Killer Cross recently.
Oh, okay, but he was the champion. So he's like one of their major stars. It was the story I'd heard was that there was an altercation between him and a fan, and the fan stabbed him.
Yeah, that's
what I'd heard.
That's the lie.
Because Mads Kruger was involved, and this happened at a show at the Berwyn Eagles Club. Because he was involved, I thought it was MLW. It isn't. It's RPW, which is, I guess, Ricky Shane Page, his company. Chad, I'm sorry I interrupted you. What was the story you had heard?
So there was one guy who was on the show that I'm aware of. I can't remember who it was. Like this was, from what I understand, it's the phrase, kind of a shitty deathmatch promotion, is my understanding.
That'd be accurate. You might be giving them a little too much credit with the shitty label, but you know.
And so there was a guy who was on there, and it's after the show, and people are at their tables and talking to fans and stuff, and then he sees kind of this scuffle going on, and some other guys get involved, and he's like, oh, okay, you know, I guess someone got whatever, and then, you know, he went home. And in the morning, he hears someone got stabbed, and there was the locker room ganging up on the guy, and he goes, someone got stabbed? What? Like, nobody said anything to me. I didn't hear. What? Are you? Someone got. And so apparently the story, as I've been able to piece together from listening to some other folks and that sort of thing, was there was this guy who was being an obnoxious prick
He's
during
drunk,
the show.
I heard.
Drunk and obnoxious and all that sort of
Which
thing. I mean,
goes
that's a delightful combination.
And it's wrestling. Like, you're gonna get those people.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna get some of them, and the truth is, you're probably gonna get more of that at a a shitty deathmatch show.
A pissant little promotion where only like hardcore deathmatch lovers show up. And
so this guy, now, part of what I had heard was that this guy had actually started an altercation with is it Kruger, you said?
Mads Kruger.
Is that Mads Kruger? Like, started an altercation with him, and then it turned into like everybody getting a piece of him. And if that's the case, like, look, we can't. You that was kind of looked at sideways in the territory days of just everybody beating the piss out of, gathering up to beat the piss out of somebody. Now you sure as hell can't do that. Not when everybody's got a high quality camera.
Well, I would
and
think,
they cooked up. They cooked up the stabbing story as a cover.
That's the craziest thing. Like, they beat up a dude and then contracted this whole lie of like, oh, he tried to stab or he did stab. It's like, do you know how unhinged that is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you want to be like, yeah, the guy started getting like aggressive with us, whatever, so we felt like we felt threatened, which is like, you could eye roll. It's like what this fan,
the drunk guy,
like these big, drunk guy, and these big wrestlers, like, you felt threatened. But you could have done that and be like, yeah, he started getting aggressive with us, so we like, we had to self-defend ourselves. You made a lie about he tried to stab you. Stabbing is a whole other thing. Like, you could die if a guy casually just tries to stab you. Die. Because literally a guy, all I had to do is, like, a guy could take like a knife, even if he has like a ballpoint pen, stabs you like in the neck, you could die. Easy.
Yeah.
Like, what a lie to come up with.
Well, I mean, these wrestlers are dumb. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
Very dumb.
I think, I don't know. I think
even
this
more
would have
dumb
been
than you could possibly imagine.
I think the fact that they ganged up on the guy would be seen as a little bitch made back in the territory days. I think you would be expected to handle a single drunk fan on your own. Bill Watts would probably fire them for that, being like, no, you need to go out there and kick his ass. Yeah, by yourself.
Yeah. And I believe that, Matt, there was like God, I wish I could remember the name of the guy who was on the show, because that's where a lot of what I heard came from. It's like, so that happened, and apparently, like, Kruger got on a flight the next day to go to another show or something like that. It's like, that's not something you do if you got stabbed the day. Like, there's not really. It's kind of hard to have just getting a little bit stabbed. Okay, like that's
it's like getting a little bit pregnant.
Yeah, I mean, you could get a little bit stabbed, but if
skin gets broken, there's not much difference, because you're talking about infection and all that stuff.
So how can for someone to look at it and go, oh, I got stabbed, and as opposed to I got cut. Like, if I get cut, that could be the tip of the knife goes in and like drags or something. Okay. Or it just, I've got a little cut. Like, getting stabbed means, like, let's be honest, the way people use the word stabbed is there's a decent penetration of a foreign object in even if it's just even if it's just through the skin, there's still a connotation of, oh wow, this was an intentional assault, that's where someone thrust something sharp into my body.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, because like if he had just done like kind of a surface cut, you know, like that would be like a slash. I wouldn't necessarily call that a stabbing either.
Let's here. I'm gonna pick up a knife I've got handy to make the point. This knife right here. If like we get that much into it and you get poked with it, I'm probably gonna, and that happened to me, I'm probably gonna think I got cut. A stab is going to be more of it straight in. This is a cutting motion. The way that I understand most people talking about it, a stabbing motion is going to be, we've got, not like psycho stab because that's a stupid way to do it, but it's going to be a certain intentional thrust with a sharp object into your body. Does the depth matter that much? Maybe, but when someone says I got stabbed, there's a certain baggage that goes with it that we all understand.
And you think like there would have been medical attention because he needs stitches. Even with like a moderate stab, you'd be worried about blood loss. Infection because God knows what's on the blade.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, this led to wrestling is now banned from the venue for the foreseeable future. And like Brett
Apparently
Lauderdale,
it's just done there.
Yeah, Brett Lauderdale lost an event there. He went off on this. He really went to town on the wrestlers.
Yeah. Go ahead. I've soapboxed enough for this particular segment.
Well, it's just dumb. Like this is my problem with modern wrestlers. A lot is they're in this spot where a lot of times the wrestlers get worked by the fans now, and it's really fucking tiring.
There's a tweet that I saw that at this point, like 3 days ago, a guy on Twitter, Doxy Stoxy, who we follow, he actually has some good takes sometimes. That's not, I say sometimes, like he actually has pretty good takes on stuff. He's not as notable as, I guess, like
Drainmaker.
Yeah. But he had a quote, which it's like, a tweet, which I thought was very, he's like, when someone buys up the Berwyn Eagles Club at the street, let me start over again. When someone buys up the street the Berwyn Eagles Club is on and turns everything into soulless condos, I'll blame RPW, which is Ricky's promotion, whose dipshit drunk owner decided that a guy who dropped out of school at 15 to focus on his backyard wrestling career should run a company is responsible. And it's like, yeah, like it's bad. It's real bad that this venue that has hosted a lot of wrestling in its day now is no longer going to do it because you ruined it. You ruined it for people. You made it a liability. So what have you done to actually help indie wrestling? Not like you're a complete net negative at this point.
Yeah. Net negative. So then, our last bit of story, Shad and I talked about this last week, but it somehow keeps getting worse with the WWE and the Mania build.
Gets exponential. It gets worse on both main events.
My favorite tweet over the weekend was like, "You guys had better watch out." Like Pat McAfee, I had bought WrestleMania tickets, and Pat McAfee broke into my car and left 4 tickets.
Yeah, that neither night of WrestleMania is sold out still, and it is this Saturday, Sunday.
You know what I love about that is CM Punk finally gets the real main event, and it's going to be the biggest failure WrestleMania in like 20 years.
Yeah. And Fed fans are just going, well, they're still going to make this going to be like the biggest get. It's like, I'm not employed by the WWE. I'm not a shareholder for the WWE. I don't care how much money they're going to make. You know why? I could go and get my wallet over there. I'm not getting any money from the WWE. So I don't give a wet fart.
And my
what
thing
the fuck
is,
they make in the gate or anything. I don't make any money from that. They're not paying me for that. Why do I give a shit how much money they're making?
You should be able to sell out.
You
should be able to sell out WrestleMania. That is my opinion. I don't give a fuck what the gate is. The fact that it did not sell out is a story in and of itself, because WrestleMania should not be going to these lengths of like cutting the prices 25% and up. And the thing is,
it's too expensive, but beyond that, people would still buy because it's WrestleMania. Do you think that the Super Bowl, and I know it's crazy expensive because I have a good friend who went a few years back to the Super Bowl because his team is the Rams. The Rams were in the Super Bowl. He went to that Super Bowl. He and his wife went. I don't know exactly how much he wouldn't tell me, but it was easily in the four figures, if not five figures for 2 seats. Do you think the Super Bowl has issues selling out? You never hear like, oh, like they're trying to move tickets to the Super Bowl. You could have the shittiest, like the teams people don't give a shit about. The Super Bowl will sell out because it's the Super Bowl. Mania should sell out. It hasn't sold out. Why? It's not just that it's expensive. It's that the creative right now was dog shit.
You know what I don't get? Why haven't they been like, I don't know. I would, if I was them and I would, I wanted the optics, I would be like going on like social media and stuff and like slipping into people's DMs, like super fans, and being like, hey, if you can get a plane ticket, we'll give you a free ticket. And like, it won't be a great seat, but like, we're just trying to fill seats. Like, so if you can get here, we'll give you a free ticket. That's what I'd be doing.
Well, I've heard some people fiercely theorize, I guess. But as you're literally at this point hours away from WrestleMania, night one, I heard at least a couple people theorize that if it doesn't officially sell out, that they'll just paper it.
Well, yeah, but
they'll give away tickets and then be like, oh, it's sold out, and it's like it may not, but they'll just make that talking point.
Also, to those people, like those WWE fans making excuses, like, I don't even care that much, but I am going to say, fuck you, I'm going to ride this forever because you assholes changed the goalposts for All In a couple years ago so that on Wikipedia, it's the people that came through the
turnstile count.
The turnstile count and not the actual ticket count, which has never happened before. Because you little assholes can't take an L.
Did they buy a ticket?
Yeah.
Did they buy a ticket? It's like, look, there have been shows. It's not happened recently because, like, with kids, it's like I know better. It's like I don't buy a ticket to something I don't know that I can go to. But there have been in my life, I have bought tickets to things.
Yeah, me too.
Now, it's not like I spent like $1,000 on a ticket and I didn't go. But there have been times I've bought a ticket to something and it's like, man, for some reason, can't go. So maybe you try to resell a ticket, but whatever. If you don't, it's like you bought a ticket, you bought it, you paid for it.
Yeah, they sold that ticket.
So you sold the ticket. So it's like, 80,000 sold. It's like, okay, but if only like 75,000 come, the turnstile. It's like,
well, stuff
80,000 were sold. Maybe 5,000 people for some reason couldn't go.
So
maybe like I was intending to go that day. I get like horrible food poisoning.
Yeah,
and I don't want to be like throwing up everywhere for the show. And I'd be like, damn,
the ticket's still sold. So fuck all you guys.
Here's a great example.
Like, this is why we get a harp on it.
Here's a great example. I wasn't near in the position to go, but like years ago, like a couple years ago, when it was Sting's final match at Revolution, like that night, I didn't even order the pay-per-view. I ordered it after the fact. The day of that show, let's say I had tickets to go to that show, I got norovirus the day of that show. Sting's last match, that pay-per-view, that entire night, I literally was vomiting multiple times because I had norovirus. If you don't have it, it's basically a stomach flu. Vomiting. What if I had that? I bought a ticket. It's like, what am I gonna do? Like, show Sting.
I want
maybe
all the
I go to Sting's final match, just vomiting.
I want all the pay-per-views ever sold to now be reviewed to people and revised to only the people that bought it and watched it.
It's bullshit coming from WWE Fed fans. Because how many years, at this point, how many decades are we into the WWE routinely lying about how many people come to the WrestleMania?
Yeah, we don't even...
Oh, like 800,000 showed up to this WrestleMania.
I don't think we even...
I don't think so.
I don't even know if we know, like, officially what Mania 3 sold.
Belzer would probably have the most accurate info,
he was
and they
comparing
still
it,
argue with him about that.
He was comparing it to what the Pope drew that year.
Well, you're not going to be the Pope.
Well, I think
No.
he was going. I think he was going based on configuration, because I think that's how you would tell. But and I know they don't have the official count on Wikipedia for that. But the turnstile thing still pisses me off, because that was such a goalpost shift, because they couldn't handle AEW setting the record.
So, how can I put this? As a fan, and as someone who used to do it, I don't give a shit about the ticket. I don't give a shit about how much money they make. I don't care. That means nothing to me. Like you said, Matt, they're not paying me. They're not, I'm not going to see anything out of it. I don't care. Don't tell me it's like, oh, this is the biggest gate we've ever had. Because what you're trying to do is flex on something that I don't care about.
Well, it's like, congratulations,
okay,
you just paid more per ticket than...
Yeah. This is the biggest gate we've ever had.
Why would I don't care?
Yeah.
I've been to indie shows that maybe 200 people were there. Maybe. If that. And it's like, did I sit there like, bullshit, this show sucks, only 200 people here? Like, no.
I mean, there's
let me watch this and see if it's good.
There can be instances where it's like, let's say it's a local show and you've been going for a couple years, you go to a show and you're just like, damn, this building's really empty compared to what it usually is. I'm kind of worried about where they're going. You know what I mean? But that's not about money though. That's looking around being like, what the hell's going on? There's it's there's usually 500 people here. There's only 200. What happened?
Yeah. That's if you look around and go, wow, it's really empty in here. That's different than going, well, they're not making much money off of this, are they?
But that goes to the broader issue, which that's a whole can of worms that at this point in time, we're not going to get into it. But that goes to the whole point where a lot of WWE fans, they do not appreciate wrestling as an art form, because your concern should be is this WrestleMania the card itself, is it going to be good creatively? Mm-hmm. Is the art am I going to see something that's a really great artistic achievement, versus oh, they're good money, the pay-per-views. It's I don't give a shit how much money they make on pay-per-views, the ratings, etc. I don't give a shit about that. I care is the product that I'm watching good? Yeah. Does it entertain me? That's what you should get. The art of it you should care about, the entertainment value.
I will say ratings and pay-per-view buys and money tend to match that with me in a promotion. It's when I'm really enjoying it, the ratings are high and stuff, and when I'm really down on something, oh man, the ratings really suck for this, and then that's it's a metric. It's a metric that helps you discuss things.
And yes, I get it, because it's if it does 0 ratings, sells no tickets, no one spends money on it, and it's well, yes, it needs to have something that justifies its continued existence,
But it's not something to live and die by. That's how they excuse the bad quality. But then they don't even believe those numbers. When Meltzer talks about stuff, they argue with him.
Yeah.
They argue with him. So, they're mad. They're mad butthurt right now because Collision did 423,000 in the ratings last Saturday, and they're mad about it, and they act like it's some lie or something. And it's no, AEW is up.
Here's the other thing that I'll point out is to say, why do I care if it's your biggest gate ever? Because this company does not care about that. They make their money off of their TV deals and their site fees and stuff. So what are we bragging about here?
Yeah.
If we're gonna, they're hot because they're bringing in a lot of money. Well, the shows are not where they're making their money. So what are we bragging about here? It's like, oh, the least profitable part of our business is doing pretty good.
And that's
what are we doing?
That's true for AEW now too, with their new TV deal.
Well, because here's the thing, their TV deals are making them more money. Okay, then I mean, you still want to stay popular. You still want to keep people engaged. Why? Because that's how you keep TV deals.
You got it, and like, I think that's the problem with the WWE right now, and I think that's where AEW went astray for a while. That they've kind of got back. You need to stay hungry. Like that's I think a big part of the problem with the WWE product right now is it's complacent.
Mm-hmm. So, God. All right. So what I'm gonna do?
Are we gonna talk about?
I'm gonna start picking on something, and I'm sorry. I might devolve into incoherent noises.
Are we bringing up Dipshit's comment about Cody now?
So this stupid build has sucked so much ass. Yeah, there we go.
It's been legit.
This stupid build.
This is actually ironic because I'm probably the biggest Cody hater on this podcast.
There's no probably. You're more of a hater than Brad and I put together,
I'm
man.
Like indifferent towards him, but like but like I have seen normies, like the most normie of fan, say I totally checked out when Cody won the title back. In like multiple places, like people that like I find their opinions on wrestling cringe because it's so normie and they're just fed heads, have said, I have tuned it out because Cody won it back again. Like that's a problem.
We'll get into this. I'm sure with the Pat McAfee stuff. I have a list of things. Some guy tweeted it out, and I bookmarked it because there's a list of things that he talked about with Cody, and it was a hating Cody post, which I appreciated. But he actually laid it out, and when you lay it out like that, it's like it actually is hard to argue. Maybe if you want to argue like when he first won the title from Roman and all that, but since he really won the title, it's hard to argue that, or since he won it back from Cena and then up to now, like losing it to Drew, winning it back, it's hard to argue that everything's not all manufactured. And a big part of why I really do believe, it's getting it almost into conspiracy theory, but I really do believe like the reason why they brought in McAfee in large part is because like it was Cody versus Randy, and Randy was getting cheers. Like Cody was basically the de facto heel in this, not that he was, but only because like people loved when Randy was beating the shit out of him because they're fucking tired of him because he's been boring as piss.
Well, the thing is, Chad and I talked about this last week, but like most of their current fan base are newer, and like Randy as a face is like fresh to them. And I mean, even like as an old head, even as an old head, like him as a face is, it's kind of a novelty in the grand scheme of things. So like, because there were a lot of people that were just like when he won the Elimination Chamber, were like, well, like I don't care that much about Randy, but it's different. Yeah. And then right after that, what they were holding on to was Drew versus Randy is different. And then they put Cody back in their face.
Here's the problem.
Okay.
Like when they built him up to the first off, we talked about it in the show. We discussed it at length in the show going back a long time, years ago. Cody should have won that first match he had with Roman.
100%.
He should have. They had him lose, and then they fucked around doing nothing.
Well, in fairness, they did keep him hot for a year. The Brock feud should have been for the title. It would have been much better for the title. But in fairness, he did stay hot for a year. They did keep the momentum up for a year.
Okay, they kept him hot, but they did it to extend the bloodline shit. But by then, like the bloodline shit was already boring.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just terrible. But they kept it. Then finally, he won the title, and it's like, okay, great. But then he didn't have good shit after that.
Well, because they didn't have anyone. They didn't have, like, that's the problem. that we're gonna get into with the thing we're gonna talk about is they haven't built anyone. So like, okay, so you put the title on Cody, like Cody himself is not totally responsible for like what happens when he's the champion because like your challengers matter too. So you can be the best champion in the world, and if there's not credible challengers lined up for you, like there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, like
Then you're not
WWE,
going to be the best champion in the world. Yeah.
yeah, you can think that because of his association with the bloodline that people really care about Solo Sakai. They don't care about Solo
Yeah, and
Sakai.
that was
So
his
him
SummerSlam.
him challenging Cody, no one gives a shit about Solo
Yeah.
Sakai. There's a whole let me just read like briefly
Yeah, we'll do
what
that,
the
and then
guy
we'll get into the.
what the guy said. Like, it's crazy what WWE Creative has done to try and put over their golden boy Cody Rhodes. Podcast with Triple H over complimenting Cody and his legacy. That just happened. Well, let me skip the Pat McAfee stuff. Well, all right. Brought in Pat McAfee because fans refused to boo Randy Orton over Cody. That's true, and we'll get into that. Turned Cena heel, but fans still refused to cheer Cody over Cena. I don't think it was just trying to get Cody over that they turned Cena heel. They just needed some shocking moment. And they even said that. Rock said that. Rock burned Triple H where it's like, yeah, like they turned Cena heel as a viral moment and it still didn't get over. So they had to call me in.
I'm gonna defend Cody a little bit on that point. That's where it started to fall apart because they made him look like a total bitch in the build up and in the match. Like, so they did fuck him on that, and he's never recovered from that because they broke his aura.
Well, that's part of the next point. Is like introduced Rock's final boss gimmick to bring sympathy to Cody, but fans kept cheering The Rock. Ran a quote real champion angle with Kevin Owens, but fans kept cheering Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens is more intriguing as a character than Cody. Stripped Drew McIntyre the WWE title a few weeks before WrestleMania 42, with record dislikes on YouTube. That's true. Because it was so obvious, like what they were doing. Gave Cody a full-blown coronation at WrestleMania 40 and built an entire new era around him. Had Randy Orton cut a promo about how Cody is better than him after Cody won the title at WrestleMania 40, along with numerous of the talent. I don't remember that, but I'm sure it happened. Had Cody win 2 back-to-back Rumbles, Crown Jewel, etc. If you critically think on the failures of the overall WWE product for the last few years, many of the issues center around having to do creative gymnastics around getting Cody over even when his opponents were already heelish. I kind of with you, Brad. It's like not everything is Cody's fault, but at the same time, Cody is, to me, he's not this multi-layered character. He's the same fucking character.
But he doesn't change. He doesn't, like, that's where he went.
That's what I'm getting. He's not dynamic. He's very static, and that's great when you're building him up. But at some point, when he's reached that level, you need to have him change, and he doesn't change.
That's why
I don't think he. To be honest with you, I don't think he wants to change.
No, he wants to be a face, and like the thing is, like, he actually, if he turned heel, he doesn't even have to change his act that much because, like, but that's where he goes wrong. It's where he went wrong in AEW. Is like you said, he stays static. So then you're like a couple years in, and he's just doing like the same promos and stuff, and it just gets old. And then he doesn't want to turn heel. Like when you would want him to turn heel, he's insisting on staying a face.
But here's why I do think he's static. But here's also where the Cody hater comes in. He's fucking corny, and by that I mean he's static, and he wants to be face. But it's like he's a corny dude, and he's a fucking weird dude, and I don't think he realized this. Look, no, let me finish. Meltzer can talk about his merchandise. The entire product is hot, Dave. Not that people love Cody.
Yeah, but they did.
In my opinion.
But Cody, they did heat up a lot when Cody came over. Like he did.
Okay, but I mean, again, when you reach the crescendo with him as champion,
because people give Roman a lot of credit, but they were, even with the bloodline stuff, they were hitting their head against the wall, and it really didn't explode until Sammy joined up, but then Cody came back. Like, so I think Roman gets too much credit, but also with the face, like I agree he's corny, but like I kind of want my face to be a bit of a cornball too. Like,
but this is what I mean with corny. This is what I mean by that. Like, he can be goofy, kind of, but it's because he doesn't think, I think, like
a normal person.
Like a normal person, or you should. It's like he's corny, he doesn't want to turn heel or whatever like that. But it's like I think he thinks like that the fans will like this,
He
bullshit in forever, and it's like no, they won't. Like they'll get tired of it,
where
and you've seen it,
where he
and they have
goes
turned on him.
where he goes wrong for me on that front, which I would go with his corniness and his weirdness, is like the weird little like racial things he's done over the years is I think where he really turns me off, like the what did he call himself, Raheem Rhodes, and like the
Leading into that,
AEW like ending racism thing. Like those are the things that really turn him off for me, because those are like,
that's a whole other weird thing. I was thinking, to me, like I'm going back to into AEW, the Aleister Black feud that he did, where he loses to Aleister Black, and he comes back and wins the feud. It's like you shouldn't have, but he loses, like leaves his boots in the ring, and then he comes back like shortly thereafter.
my problem with that
He's
feud
no longer
was
the blonde dyed hair. He's like turned his hair his natural color.
no, he
which
did
is,
that
like,
for Brody. He didn't.
Yeah, that was for Brody Lee.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry.
But the Aleister Black feud is a great one because like they were having this big feud and they had set Aleister Black up as a super dangerous guy, and then they do the big baseball stadium show where they had their big showdown. He comes out in like the Evil Knievel outfit and he has like Brandy with them and stuff, and it's just like this is really tone deaf. Because like if like Aleister Black, this guy that is head kicking people into oblivion, like I wouldn't have Arn and Brandy out there. I'd be like, no, like you need to stay away because this guy's
grudge match. Yeah.
this guy's a nutcase. Like I don't know what he's gonna do. Like I don't want you to get hurt. I mean, I guess Arn can come because he'd bring his gun, but
all right. So, let me walk this back a bit. I was confusing that with the Brody thing. So when he comes back with Brody, he has like the dark hair. And afterwards, he's like, "Oh yeah, this is like a reference to the comic book from the '90s
that we've read,
the Death and Return of Superman."
That the three of us have all read when it came out, and we didn't understand what he was going.
Yeah,
for.
It's like the Death and Return of Superman, and it's like, oh, people didn't get that, and it's like, why would they fucking get that? Like that is so that's niche upon niche upon niche. Like in a fandom that's already like nerdy as hell, and it's like the three of us like have read that back in the day, and I still didn't know what the hell you're talking about until you had to explain it.
Yeah,
and
like
it's like that's what I was saying. Like he's a weird dude. He's corny. He doesn't think like
I still don't
and
get.
Wrestlers are weird guys anyway, but it's like he's not getting.
I still don't get what he was.
He doesn't want to turn heel.
I still don't get that reference because it's like when he's talking about the Death and Return of Superman, it's like you didn't come out with a luscious flowing mullet, so I wouldn't think of Return of Superman.
He was gone for 2 weeks and then he came back. He wasn't gone for very long. Look, okay, how can I put this? I don't hate Cody Rhodes, but I sure am sick of his shit right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the biggest thing, is just sick of his shit. And he, like you said, he wants to be a face. He's had a big face run. He's been the top face in the company. You know what happens after a while? Sooner or later, to keep things fresh, you got to do something different. Probably turn heel and do something different.
Go down the card.
But we don't get that. We get this same thing, and frankly, it's boring people to tears.
And the thing is, like, he's been doing it since AEW started, so he hasn't changed his character in 7 years.
Forget how long has he been in the WWE? Like 3 years, 4 years?
4 years, because he missed a year. Well, he jumped in early 2022, I think. Yeah, 2022 he jumped, and then he got hurt, so he missed a year. So he's like, we'll say he's 3 years into his run.
Okay, but let's use 4 years. Okay, in the 4 years since he came back to WWE, in that 4 years, I think Mox in AEW has gone from face to heel
to tweener,
whatever he is now, tweener, probably like 4 or 5 times. Like he has got every like 6 like he goes it's something. Now he's face, now he's heel, now he's tweener. Like he multiple times he's changed. Cody's still the same. He's still the same.
Adam Page has had a whole
And you're right.
character arc where he fell from grace and redeemed himself in that time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there was some
that's the
arson
one I'd
involved,
use.
but
Yeah, but I mean, you know, who hasn't contemplated arson before?
yeah.
Yeah. He hasn't changed, and the problem that he's into right now is because since he won the title, it's people, even the WWE fan base, they can overlook a lot of things, and they're a little denser than other people about things. They can see through the transparent bullshit where it's like he was the champion, he lost to Drew, and it's like it's obvious. We talked about it on the show literally weeks ago, where it's like you lose a match where the stipulation is like I can never challenge for the title again. He loses the match, and then like a week later, it's like, "Hi, I'm Nick Aldis. I'm saying that Cody is going to challenge for the title this SmackDown," and it's like
the Roman.
You literally went back like
they're doing
2
the
weeks
Roman
after
shit.
you did that stipulation.
They're doing the Roman shit
and
where
then
it was like
he went.
They're doing the Roman shit where it's like, oh, this is a #1 contenders match. Roman lost. LOL, Roman's still going to challenge for the title, even though he lost.
Yes. And people like have seen that before, and then it's like, oh, but Cody wins again. Oh, he wins the champion. Oh, and it's like, and it's not there's not one moment of like self-reflection or anything like that. It's like, we hold the title, like kiss the title, like, oh, it's so great. It's like you're still doing the aw shucks. Like, oh, I'm so grateful to be here with the chat. Like, oh, I gotta go kiss some babies.
Well, I think like
you haven't changed, and it's like it's so transparent.
You need to have,
and people, even the dense WWE fans are like, okay.
Well, I think the problem is like he's still doing that, but I think you should have an attitude change once you've won the title for the first time. Like there needs to be some like tweaks there because like you've been there. Yeah. Like there's a certain aspect of you that should. Like, you can want the title back and stuff, but, like, I don't know, like, Hogan was corny, but, like, Hogan wasn't that way with the belt. Like, Hogan was, like, that was his belt. You know what I mean?
Look, that's... Hogan's a very problematic character, but if you really actually go back and look at Hogan's body of work, even just just WWF, it was actually a lot more complex than people want to give and Hogan was a smarter worker than people give him credit for. Like, so you won't convince me that he wasn't doing this shit knowing like the subtleties of this. Like Hogan, if you actually look at Hogan, like Hogan was basically a selfish asshole. Like even as a face, like the main face, he was a selfish asshole about the belt and his friends, everything like that. That's why we did the whole retrospective of the Mega Powers Explode. It's like Macho Man had so many correct points about Hogan as a character and how he wasn't a good friend and how he lusted his eyes and like he was jealous about the championship. He was jealous of Macho Man. Like, yeah, because Hogan actually was all those things.
Yeah, but you're forgetting the parts though where Hogan was being a good friend in some ways and Savage was using that against him. Where like, you know, he's like, you're afraid to challenge me for the title. And like, Hogan's over there like, I don't want to fight you. You're my friend. Like, enjoy the belt.
But see, that's complexity. There's complexities about this.
Yeah.
Cody is the same. Now, do we want to get into McAfee? Because I have a quote that I bookmarked.
Oh, that's not what I was going to rant about.
Let's get it. I want to get into McAfee.
I just want to say it is true.
We're starting to run late, but
I just want to say it is true. He broke into my car last night and left 2 WrestleMania tickets. And Pat, this atrocity will be avenged. But what did
you say, Chad?
Go ahead. No, I wasn't going to talk about McAfee. I was going to talk about Triple H's stupid ass statement earlier today.
We'll go out on the Triple H statement.
Okay.
So go ahead. Let's talk about how the build for these main events got even worse.
We haven't talked about
Cody
Punk Roman,
looked.
which I don't even know if we'll have time for
Cody,
that. But
but like that segment on Friday. Wait, yeah, Friday. You, and this is not from a pro or anti Cody stance. You made your champion look like such a little bitch the way they did that whole segment.
so I guess now a week and a half ago, because Randy throughout the whole thing, Randy has been like talking on the phone with someone. It's like, who is it? And then I guess a week and a half ago it was revealed it was Pat McAfee, which is like Pat McAfee, the fucking commentator.
Yeah.
I get that he's wrestled, which is the whole thing. Because
He's very
like
jelly roll. I'll give him that.
very, very butthurt Punk fans have like tried to throw strays at Pat McAfee, where it's like, look at Punk, like showed a picture of Punk working out, like, and Punk's in like really good physical shape, but it's like, look at him, like people want to act like, like doesn't have a better physique than Pat McAfee. People want to talk about Pat McAfee. It's like, yeah, because Pat McAfee was a professional athlete who actually wrestled, worked in the NFL.
Beat Punk's ass pretty much.
He would run circles around Punk. And athletically, the fact that he actually worked in the NFL legitimately, was drafted to an NFL team and worked even as a kicker. It's always a kicker. It's like, I don't think you realize, even to be at that level, what you need to do physically.
Yeah. And
like Pat McAfee, Punk is here. Punk is not athletic.
No,
Punk is here.
Punk has I will get this. I'm going to give Punk. I'm going to say something nice about Punk here. I will give Punk a lot of credit as a worker. He has gotten very far, and he's had some good matches and good moments with, I will say he has no athletic talent whatsoever. He has zero.
Minimal.
He has less than I do.
So number one, McAfee was like all pro in his position in the NFL. Like he was, I think, when they do the All-Star stuff, I'd have to look. In any event, he was like.
I will say this for Pat McAfee. So, everyone in the NFL is a freak of nature. Like, I know someone that made it to a training camp that was a skill position player. And he said, yeah, I was screwed because I was running as hard as I could, and I looked over, and a 350-pound lineman was just jogging next to me and was like, hey, what's up? And he knew he was fucked.
Yeah, it is. Here's level. I'm going to give Pat McAfee credit. Number one, he was a notable NFL player. This is not an easy thing. Okay, like this takes a lot of work, a lot of skill, a lot of inborn talent, like all that, like you were just saying. Number two, Pat McAfee was one of the founders of creating a new sports talk platform that is widely used now. Barstool Sports started with, if I remember correctly, Pat was one of, if not the major personalities for starting Barstool Sports.
He's still a big personality. He's not my thing, but like for the demo he pulls, like he's a big deal. He's just not. I'm too old for his.
Yes.
For his.
Yeah, deal. And so you know what? Credit to the guy. That's that. I mean, there's a lot. But.
And he takes wrestling serious. I'll give him that too.
He does.
He paid Rip Rogers He paid Rip Rogers out of pocket, and he took training seriously. And I would say his few performances, he had more potential than like I would say 75% of the NXT people.
In a different world, like if he had not gone into like, being like a sports podcaster, radio guy / like commentator, like if he had been like, I want to be a professional wrestler, like he would have done well, like very well, because athletically he had the capability, and he doesn't exactly have like no charisma. Like he would have done.
I would also defend him and say, I think they could be using him a lot better, and he's being hampered by whatever horseshit script they're making him read.
But
so here's what I was going to say. Item one, it is completely disingenuous to say that CM Punk is in better shape than Pat McAfee. No. CM Punk is more built out, but don't give me this shit that he's in better shape, because the guy gets blown up every time he has a fucking match.
And he's taking
He had a match with Gunther. He had a match with Gunther where he spent most of it laying face down in the ring because he couldn't fucking breathe.
And he's
Don't
on
give me that.
steroids. You don't get at his age. At his age, he's what, 49?
He's not. I don't think he's that old, but he's like 45.
No,
46.
I'm 40. I'm 45, and he's older than me. I was gonna say,
Look it up.
At our age, you don't build muscle mass naturally. You deteriorate. You don't get as big as him without extra help.
He's 47. He's 47.
What I'm saying is, he's not. Don't confuse having muscle with being in shape. Those are very different things.
And Pat's in his 30s, I think, so he's already got like a massive advantage there too.
And then and then they trot this out, and when they bring Pat into it, do you know what his point is? Hey, y'all ain't selling any tickets. You're charging too much for it. But he's the heel. And this is in a feud with Cody. And I don't understand what they're doing, because they have had Pat McAfee go out there and say, we're doing a shitty job selling tickets.
It's remarkably counterproductive, and people given Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer shit because they've been like, this is WCW 2000 level bad, and people are like, oh no. It's like people complaining about that. It's like, you weren't around to hear or watch WCW 2000. You weren't around for that. Like, people like us were. And the reason why they're saying this is like that is because back in the day, that's the same counterproductive shit they do. It's like, oh yeah, like this product sucks and you're paying too much for this shit product. It's like, you can't say that. You can't say that. Like that, why? If you're saying, yeah, this product sucks and it's overpriced, it's like, I as a consumer would be like, okay, I shouldn't watch your product or pay for your product, right? I'm gonna go leave. Yeah. You should not do that, especially when you're in the environment where, because you actually do have high prices, and there's so many other venues of entertainment out there for people to choose from. I could be like, oh, you're right, I don't need wrestling. Like, bye. And then that's it. You don't want to do that. That's counterproductive. Beyond that.
You don't want to say to people that probably aren't enjoying your product as much as they were, and some of them might not have verbalized that yet, and then you start hitting them with the truth, and they go, you know what? Like, you're right, click.
Yeah. Beyond that, though, the specific thing about Pat McAfee is that, and people have noted this, and they're dead right, is that in a week and a half, what's supposed to be and they're aware, they're aware of this in the WWE, because Cody started talking shit this, like, the last couple of days about this, is that literally in a week and a half, with hours to go before the Cody Orton match on Saturday, it stopped being about where Randy Orton is like the focus. It's basically Cody versus Pat McAfee is the focus, because that's what like all the heat is. And Pat McAfee came out there this past Friday, and like you said before, like, he made Cody look like a fucking fool. This is literally like a quote of what he said at SmackDown, and it's like, if this was scripted, why would you do this? If it was unscripted, why would you let him say this? Pat McAfee got out there and said, talking to Cody, he goes, all I see is the fakest dude on earth, spray tan, dyed hair, fake teeth, lispy lips, and a $10,000 suit because Ric Flair said it was the right thing to do. You're a cosplay champion. It's like, that is fucking destroying Cody. And I'm sorry, again, I'm Cody hater, so you can take it with the greatest salt. You think I'm full of bullshit, that's fine. But to me, like, that's an emperor has no clothes.
Well, the thing is,
because it's like, you are saying, you haven't go out there and you're saying shit that you could actually use as legit criticisms of Cody, that he is fucking fake. And you don't want to be saying that to a fan base that's already a little like, I'm a little tired of Cody. Like, you don't want to be up there and being like, yeah, you know what? You're tired of Cody? Like, yeah. He shows up in a suit.
But
like
the
he's full of
problem is,
bullshit.
though, this is where they always go wrong with this stuff. Is Cody took it like a bitch, which makes it valid. Instead of if Cody had just obliterated him after that, and then like
then it would have been talk shit, get hit,
yeah,
and McAfee would have, there would have been a consequence for it.
that's where because like I said, so he took it. He pretty much just took it, and so that makes, like Matt said, that makes it valid. Because you can say real things, but like if Cody had just annihilated him after that, it's like, okay, well, here's your paper champion. I just shoved your teeth into your throat.
Yeah.
But they don't do that. They always do this with their faces.
Yeah, they don't understand. They have the worst face champions. And then, by the way, this stupid ass talk about ticket stuff bled over into the Roman Punk feud, which I'm seeing, as Brad said, I'm seeing Fed fans go from like, yeah, that first promo was fire, but the rest of this has sucked. Like, yeah,
well,
that's not.
Punk's promo like 2 weeks ago was really cringe because he's still trying to have his he wants his liberal ass pats while working for like a super out conservative company, and it's just like, I don't, dude, like shut the fuck up. No one cares. Like, you're fine taking the Saudi money. You're fine taking money from a super conservative. Like the thing is, like, I don't care what anyone's politics are. I don't even care if like you're super liberal and you decide to work for the WWE. Like, we all have to earn a living somehow. But shut the fuck up about it then. Like, you made your choice.
Yeah, you can't grandstand off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, no, this is who you're working for. So if it's like, well, that's not my policy, you can't be like, you can't grandstand.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna look like a hypocrite.
Because if someone like, says like, well, how do you deal with these things? Like, look, dude, like, I don't agree with it, but I gotta feed a family. I gotta earn a living. Like, politics aren't that important to me. Most people, there would be some uber progressives online that wouldn't be good enough for. But like, most people would just be like, yeah, I get it. Like, we all have to earn a living. We work for companies we don't necessarily agree with all the time. Like, I get it. I'm not going to hold that against you. But it's the I want all those ass pats I got when I used to run my mouth when I wasn't working for the company anymore. Like, why are the ass pats gone? So like, because you took you can't have it both ways.
Punk, Punk, what I even seen online, has pretty much just ruined. If you were a Punk fan before this, you're a diehard Punk fan, nothing's gonna matter. Like, you're still gonna be a diehard Punk fan. But there's a lot of people who they've fallen out with him, and they should, because if you viewed him a certain way, his actions and the things that he said and the things he's done, like, they don't line up. So it's like, yeah, if you thought he was this very outspoken, woke, liberal values champion, that's not who I think he really is.
No,
or he could say that, and maybe in some degree personally he is. But he's also like going to the MAGA company, and he's going to Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, which he himself has said like shit talk before. And he even went to Saudi Arabia, and they're like, "Oh, I'm giving it," like, issued an apology. It's like, when you do things like that, it's like, if you're a diehard Punk fan, you make excuses.
Well,
a lot of other people have been like, "He's not
the
the person I thought he was.
Think,
he's a hypocrite. I'm done."
I think he probably agrees with their stance on women. So, I can see how he likes Saudi Arabia in that regard. And there's no Mexicans there too, so he likes it in that regard too.
Look, it just overall, the build for this Mania has sucked.
And last year sucked too. It's just
awful.
It is.
It's worse this year.
And
it is, because
it's worse because they've decided to hang a lampshade on the fact that they're not selling tickets.
People have turned on
how does that benefit?
People turned on Rhea so they even tanked her.
Well, yeah, because they took someone who was like a dominant force for that division, And have farted around and not apparently had her do anything of consequence. Okay, that's not fair. Apparently, people enjoyed her tag run with EO. Fine. I didn't see it. I don't have an opinion on it. But if this is like the dominant force in your division, shouldn't she just kind of turn around and start kicking the shit out of the roster to go for that title? Or what are, I don't. Having someone be a dominant force in a division and then having them just kind of drift around, that doesn't work.
I just don't. I think Triple H is going to get fired this year, or he's going to get we're firing you, but we're giving you a promotion firing type, because like I think he has till SummerSlam to right the ship, because I don't know, like I think it's terrible for optics that your product is this bad and the guy that's supposed to be in charge of creative is so like obviously like thirsting for like a spot in the Trump administration. It really like makes you wonder like where his attention is.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's thirsting for that. I don't know why, but he is. So we have more crapping on Triple H because he said something really dumb today.
He said the dumbest thing.
Hang on, let me stretch first. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so he pretty much did some, I don't know if it was an interview, but he pretty much commented like, if we lost Cody, we couldn't replace him, and everyone was like...
It was an interview. The quote that people have been commenting on it, he goes, the other thing about our business is unlike a sport, and as bad as it is, if you lose your quarterback, if you lose your first string offensive lineman, if you lose your star center or star guard in the NBA, you have a second string guy to back him up, and you hope that those second string guys are pretty good. There is no backup Cody Rhodes. There is no backup Randy Orton. There is no backup Roman Reigns. There is no backup CM Punk.
So can I just...
Yeah, that's your fucking job, dummy.
Can I
know why there's not? Because you don't put anybody else on TV. They don't exist because you haven't made them. And there's never... I'm sorry, Brad.
I know.
I'm going. Give me a minute. They don't exist because there's never a replacement for that. When Steve Austin left, there's not a replacement for Steve Austin because no one's that big yet.
But you have The Rock.
You don't have replacements. You have people who follow up, and you build them up to that same point. If Cody goes out, then you need to do something else. What are you going to do? You don't just stand there and go, oh, I guess we're not having that match. That you've got to fill it in with something. But the problem is, you had 5-hour shows with 3-hour shows with 4 matches on them, and it's the same people all the time. So guess what happens? Nobody is in a position to be taken seriously to go into that spot because you've dicked around and not done anything to build anybody else up. I don't understand how. Look, I know there are valid criticisms of the guy, but let's be honest for a second. I saw his indie stuff beforehand. I saw him get hot in this company, and then I saw them screw with him. I don't understand how you take someone who's been as over as LA Knight was and just absolutely drown him in absolute bullshittery when you could have this guy who's like, well, Cody's out. What are we going to do? And then you hit the music and he does his catchphrase and all this. He's like, he may be out, but I'm stepping up in here because you ain't got what it takes to beat the megastar. Yeah, or what, he could totally do that, but you won't let him do that because you won't let there be anybody who could step up to that space because Triple H sucks at what he does because he can't think beyond this many people at the top of the card and he can't have more than this many matches on his show.
And hold on, Brad, hold on. To that point, I'll listen. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. Is there of the 4? Is there any one of them who's under 40?
No. Some of them are closer to 50. But here's the thing: that was spoken like a true person that doesn't understand like actual sports, because it's the thing is like if you're Kansas City and like let's say Patrick Mahomes has a career-ending injury.
Or season. Let's say season.
Yeah. But like there are franchises that have gone decades without finding like a good quarterback because like wrestling does require talent to a certain degree, but you have a lot of control over talent. Like like, yeah, like you might not be able to hit the highs of business with Cody, but you could probably find someone that can do like 75% of Cody. If you lose your quarterback in the NFL, your season is done. And let's say they have like let's say they're done forever. Like you could be in the desert for a decade before you find someone. Like look at the Colts. Look at the Indianapolis Colts since Andrew Luck retired. He's been retired for I think 10 years now, and they still haven't found a quarterback.
The Bengals, when Joe Burrow went out for the season, pretty well were just dead in the water.
Yeah.
You know what?
Other than Kyle Bull, other than not Kyle Bowler. Fuck. Joe Flacco having that one good game.
Yeah. So what happens there is, whenever your star player goes out, you might have a second string person to go into it, but it's not the same thing. It's honestly worse because they're not going to have the sheer talent and ability that your star player has. Whereas, if you got someone on your wrestling roster, you can build them up to where people will go with it if you do the work.
Yeah. And to go further into that, the few times that it does work is because the coaching staff is so good, they system that person in and they can perform in the system and they get really far like performing in that system, kind of like the 49ers do, where that's not even true because like Brock Purdy is such an upgrade over what they had. Like it's not the same, and when Brock Purdy's not in there, it's not the same. But I'm saying, like, if you look at like coaching and putting a system in place that gets an inferior player to perform as well, it's almost like booking them into success.
God. I know at the end of my little tirade I got a bit much, but the truth of the matter is you can't whine and cry and say, well, if this person goes out, there's no one to replace them, because that's your fault.
Yeah.
You're the booker.
Skill issue.
And then and they will
issue.
They're that's what I said, but their fans and their creative will argue till they're blue in the face that the wrestling doesn't matter. And I will say, you haven't been able to build anyone because you don't have anyone wrestle. You can't, people cannot get over if they're wrestling once every other month on TV.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to take seriously that way. Were there people they could have built up? Sure. And you know what? They actively haven't.
And they have
actively not built people.
The one they were on the road to doing, they jobbed to Punk, and they took him out of the WrestleMania main event because Roman wanted in on it and didn't want to wrestle Cody. So they actively...
Roman and Cody didn't want to work with each other, so they split them up.
And so Braun and Jacob Fatu got knocked down the card. So Braun lost his feud to Punk, which is going to long-term hurt him, I believe. And then he got hurt. And Fatu is God knows where on the card.
They're really fucked. Like, Braun Breaker should be like elevated. Here's another thing.
I thought they would screw it up, and we were talking about it when we thought that was going to be the main event, and I said I thought there were issues with who he was going to work with and stuff. But I did commend them. I said, okay, that is different, and you're finally pushing someone up. And then they just cut that off at the knees and went right back to oldies.
Well, this also happened in the last 24 hours, but and unfortunately I saw people being like, "Oh, this proves that Triple H isn't a racist." Obafemi came out there and cut a promo, and it was a good promo, well received, and people just basically started like, because he cut a good promo
because he let one black guy talk in the last 4 years.
Triple H gave like a black guy like 5 minutes to cut a promo, but people were like, "Oh my God, it's like Obafemi," and it's like Obafemi is good, and Obafemi could be like a huge star for you. So you absolutely, people in the last 24 hours like, "Oh my God, like you gotta push him to like give him everything," and it's like, yeah, this guy is a guy that is a star, and I even said before that if this was like
Vince
40 years ago in the territory days, you would have a guy that had the rep as a horrible racist in Bill Watts. Bill Watts would have put the fucking title on Obafemi already and pushed this man to the moon because he has something, and he like even like a racist like Bill Watts would have been like, nah, man, this guy's like a license to print money. Like so people would be like, oh, push Obafemi. It's like, look, man, I'm not saying you shouldn't. You should
Vince would
do it
have
with
pushed
him.
him.
Do it with Vince. Absolutely would have pushed him. Vince would have already put the fucking title on him probably. But push Obafemi, push Braun Breaker. But what's the problem? Right now, you're gonna come out of this weekend with WrestleMania. Who's gonna hold the title? Cody
Roman.
again.
Well, it's gonna be
Cody.
Roman. I don't.
Cody and Roman.
Well, do you think?
So is
do you
Roman
think-
gonna job to Braun Breaker or Obafemi? No.
Because I can't
You're probably
imagine.
looking at another like 12-month or more Roman reign.
Well, I couldn't imagine. They might. I don't know. Because I was like, I can't see a world where they put the title on Randy, but there's like a nagging thing in the back of my head of they might panic put it on him, but I just don't see it.
They could if there's like some sort of like legs they're gonna do with this Pat McAfee thing, but they're already like saying Backlash is gonna be Randy and Pat McAfee versus Cody and Jelly Roll. But it's like I don't see Cody being like, oh yeah, I'll lose the title just after winning, because that's the whole thing. He won out Drew McIntyre to be like the face champion going into Mania, and everyone will cheer him like, beating Randy, and it's like, but you're like the de facto heel because people are fucking tired of you, so they don't want to root for you.
But what do you even do with Cody going forward though as champion? Like that's the other problem, because like his after he won it back from Cena, it was just an endless like Drew McIntyre feud.
That's the thing. Do you think that they have thought that far? Like they have these big plans? Like no, I don't think they do.
I mean,
so
if
it's
they
like
couldn't even.
If you have Cody and Roman as the champions, like who's gonna like be like, oh yeah, I'll drop the title to Obafemi or Braun Breaker?
Neither.
They're not gonna do it. Maybe Cody would be like, oh, I'll lose to Braun Breaker, but the thing will be like, oh, I'll lose to him, but then I'll win it right back.
Because Roman will lose it to some other old guy, and then Punk will continue not putting anyone under the age of 40 over, because he hasn't done that in like 5 years now. Cody is the most likely, but it'll be in such a counterproductive way it won't work.
Yeah.
Cody is the most likely. Cody is the most likely of those three, I think. And I honestly, it wouldn't mean anything because it's Randy Orton, but I think actually out of those four, Randy Orton is the one that'd be like, yeah, I'll put someone over, because he doesn't.
Randy would. I actually fully believe Randy would.
Randy doesn't care.
Either one of those guys over, but
Randy would be like, you want him to kill me? Because like I'll literally let him kill me on air if you want.
Yeah, but of those,
I'll go home for 3 months. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, he would be the one to allow it, and it would be of those four, it would be the one that would matter the least.
Yeah,
but he'd do it.
Yeah, that's the problem they have though, is like they're in that WCW territory. Like remember when like they started having that issue of like the old guys wouldn't put the young guys over, and then they like the guys that were willing to do it were like Ric Flair and Roddy Piper. The guys that like beating didn't mean as much with. Like that's the problem they're in now. The guys that are willing to do it don't mean anything. But I mean, no one on the roster means anything. And even like the guys down the card that should be young up and comers are people like Sami Zayn that have been there forever. And even like he sucks horribly. He really does suck. I think he's terrible. He's still terrible. But like the fact that the Usos are back together, like just made the Jay thing like a total failure and a waste of time, because he's back where he started.
Well, like they had Gunther have the world title and retire Goldberg and Jericho and Styles, and they barely, like, they scraped together a match for him at Mania. And it's like, what are they going to do with them going forward?
And with Seth Rollins, like two guys that can't, they have two guys that should not be losing. This is what they always do. So they have Seth Rollins versus Gunther, and neither of them should really be taking a loss right now, but one of them is going to take a loss.
But Gunther, like Seth Rollins should be going after the other people in the division, but literally like every single one of them is injured.
Well, and but the ones left
outside of Logan Paul.
But like But you can't do him versus Austin Theory or Bronson Reed because they're so unover, no one will care.
Yeah. Bronson Reed's injured. Isn't Austin Theory injured? Maybe if he isn't, no one gives a shit. Yeah. Braun Breaker's injured. But that's the thing. It's like, okay, so you come out of this, and it's either going to be Orton or Cody. Probably Cody.
Yeah.
Or Roman or Punk. Probably, almost certainly Roman.
Punk's not going to.
As the champions.
Roman's not going to.
So it's like, who are you going to elevate now? Braun? You're not going to do that.
Javon Evans?
Roman and Cody aren't going to do it. The only way they'll do it is a counterproductive way where it's like they win it back. Or Cody, it's like, yeah, I'll lose, but I'll win it back, right? It's like, or Obafemi they're not going to put over Obafemi.
But
they're not going to do anything with LA Knight.
Yeah.
Gunther like barely got a win. Seth Rollins should be like now a big face run, him going against the Vision. They're all injured. So what are you going to do? Like have the big match? They'll probably do the big match, but it's going to be like, Seth versus Braun at like SummerSlam. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like what they're in a really bad position because it's like, what are you going to do to elevate new people? You're not. Tell me how you're going to. I don't believe it.
The thing is, like, the problem they have is elevating people takes time. It takes a lot of time. And, like, they should have been elevating these people 2 years ago.
Some of them elevated themselves, and then they wouldn't capitalize on it. So it lets all the air out of the balloon.
Well,
you got punished for it.
And they're giving valuable like stuff like the Wyatt Six, who are terrible and no one gives a shit about, had like this long ass tag title run that you could have used on someone that could actually get over. Like look at the Street Profits. They killed.
What are the Motor City Machine Guns doing right now?
I mean, they're getting paid for doing nothing, so good on them. But like, look at like the Street Profits. He totally killed them. Like, no one talks about the Street Profits anymore because they're dead.
Yeah.
But I think
I don't understand how you take someone like Montez Ford and just let him waste away like that.
Oh,
I don't get it.
I know why.
I personally don't get it.
I personally don't either. I know.
I see. Yeah, Triple H does. Yeah. But I'm just saying.
But I think we're going to end it there because this is a little late for us and some of us have early mornings. So thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us as always. I don't know what we're doing next week because we keep trying to veer away from like current stuff and they keep doing shit to make us talk about it. But so thank you for watching as always. This has been Matt, Shad, and Brad. We've been in 3 Corners, you've been in the 4th. And we will catch you next time.